Good morning, all. Myself, Shantika Mandal, your moderator for today. Pursuing Family and a member of Public Relations Subcommittee. Today, I take this opportunity to welcome you all in today's session 4 of Metaverse Hackathon workshop organized by IPASF. We have already learned about launch your meta pharmacy with 8XR blockade games and common sense of medicines by Ravil sir and the synergy of meta pharmacy with Web3 by Arun sir in session 1. We also heard about 11 ways to market your brand in Metaverse in the session 2 by Abhishek Rajpurohit sir. And in session 3, we learned about use cases for meta pharmacy by Maria. Benjamin Kocher explained us about the Metaverse search engine using Lighthouse, and Arun Nadarasa sir gave us insights about pharmacy in the era of Web 4.0, embracing the fulfillment economy of Metaverse Hackathon workshop. If you have missed out any of the session, you can check out the playlist of IPSF YouTube. And today I am more than delighted to welcome Arun sir to give us the insights in the topic gaming with Instaverse and AI agent with Imagica.
Thank you, Santika, for the presentation. First of all, I just want to give a massive round of applause to the leadership shown by the IPSF, because you have to remember IPSF are doing this hackathon on top of their current activities. And as a reminder, IPSF is the very first pharmacy student organization in the world to do a month-long hackathon. Any other pharmacy organization that's doing a hackathon is always 1 day or 2 days long. And we got so many partnerships thanks to the kindness and professionalism shown by IPSF. So today I'll be like just doing a quick demo of Instaverse and Imagica, then we can run the sequence. And then also we're going to have a very, very big surprise for all the hackathon participants, especially the top 3. So without any further, I'm just going to share my screen. Can I share my screen? So let me share my screen now. Share screen. So I guess everyone should be able to see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, so we can.
Okay. So basically, just try to do. So first of all, there's a new tool that's come out recently, and I always like to try the tool to see if that can be useful for the pharmacy student. So the one of them is called Instaverse. So basically, Instaverse is basically similar to 8XR / Ozone, but that's more like just for you to play around. So basically, that's, for example, something you can move around. I'll just do it big screen so everyone can see. And then you can also create one. So I just to create one just now. Pharmacy with lots of 3. I just made it up, yeah? And maybe I want to make it a style of science fiction. So you can create it. It's like basically leveraging Skybox Lab, right? Generate. But I'll be very quick because I've done an extended tutorial, which I've uploaded on YouTube, which will be shared later on the Discord channel for IPSF. But that's literally a 1-minute run through, and then we can kick off the session with the recording of the speakers. And as you can see, that's a futuristic environment. So the key differences is what you need to do before. You need to download the map and put it on 8XR. But this one, you can go straight away into it. So basically, if I was to click this button, is not yet activated. This button is basically play mode. And the one, if you click this button, is you look around. Okay. If I click this button, that's basically, I can move within the scene in 3D, almost like the click and follow type of game that you used to have back in the days. And then this one is something that I quite like. So basically, you know, like when you play a game, you have role-playing game from directly above, first-person view, and so on. So if you choose option number 1, as you can see, I can move around the scene I created, like the pharmacy scene I created in first-person view. If I do tease, I'll be from above. I like from the back. Right? Please bear with me. So, and then you have finally, like from above, like dungeon game. You know, and then you can change your character here. So you can generate a scene like this. And then if you want, you can take a picture, but that's just for you to play around. So basically, in my opinion, that's the future of gaming. So you can create a scene and a gaming function when you have more functionality around having a character to collect insulin pen, collect asthma pump to improve the condition, especially for young kids. So gamifying the experience similar to Pokemon Go. So there's this one. So that's called Instaverse. But then there's other function, but there's a 3 core function, create a scene and pick in one. So I'm going to close that. So basically, there's another thing. It's called Imagica. So only got this access on Friday. So basically, it's something that we can do is called, what do you call it? A meta pharmacy AI agent. So basically, that's how you look at it. So if I can zoom in. No, maybe not. Yeah, I think zoom in here. Okay. So basically, you can see. So basically, it has a starting point. So basically, you can give it a function. And as you can see, it's like something called nodule. So I can click a nodule and then create a statement. I try to zoom in for everyone. Generate a list of treatment based on the medical condition. And then this is the box, white box is like example that created by AI. Then I can link another nodule, say, please do recommendation for medication. And this is by AI. Then you can do, I want you to do a YouTube video based on the medication, but you must add a nodule, you do slash. So you do the slash function, then you can add a function. So let me quickly show an example because it's easier to explain when I show. So if I click this button, I can do slash and then it gives me different function, right? So as brain, data source, generate image, photo, and so on. And YouTube here. And then once you're happy with the function, so what I've done, I created a meta pharmacy AI agent where this is for like medication, this is for non-physical activity like yoga, mindfulness, this is exercise, and this one is diet. And in that, also included blood test. So it's still a working project, but in a nutshell, the way it looks like, if I try to do it, let me come out of this big screen. So I think they are doing some update on the platform, but basically once you've done it, you can do preview, you can save it, you can rename it. And if you go, just kind of exit here, so you can create a project here. This one has some examples. I highly recommend everyone to check those examples first before you make your app. But the final products looks like this. I did a recorded video to make it easier, so I can, but just to show you the functionality. That's how the things look like. So it has a page look like, and then you can write a word. So I've written diabetes, and that's all the function I've given it. So this is what we call an artificial intelligence agent because it has a mind of its own. It's different to a chatbot. Before it was very complex, but now with Imagica, anyone with no coding experience, even the pharmacy student, can create such a tool. So you can play around with this. You can also share it with your submission project as a bonus content, right? So unfortunately, because he only got launched recently, the video is not showing that I recommend the video for exercise, but this is being looked at by the Imagica team. So as a reminder, you click here, and then you can change the color to dark if you wanted to. And then you can see preview here. So you can change the name, you can change this, and then just the preview on how it look like, right? And there should be some video coming up, if that makes sense, yeah? So and to share the screen. But basically, as a summary, with Instaverse, you can create a game with one sentence. which can then provide opportunity to develop a game for young people to help them understand the importance of taking the asthma inhaler, the importance of using the insulin, the importance of learning how to do CPR in a gamified manner like Pokemon Go. And also the Imagica AI tool is to allow you to create your own AI agent, which you can embed at some point in the next few months directly into your metaverse scene. So then the person can ask, okay, so I'm the pharmacy, let me ask the meta pharmacy agent. So yeah, I hope that was useful. But then I share recording on a Discord channel, which is like step by step. But that was a very quick run through. So yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sorry,
It
take a
was
search
very
at you.
yeah.
And also there's a Gangan from Murat that joined. So after you kind of give a debrief, you can maybe let Gangan speak. So yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, Sayantika, I'll be taking care now for a few minutes. So, we have Mr. Ganga Gopal, sir. So, thanks for joining. He's from Muvela.
Yeah, good morning and good evening, everyone. Thanks,
Yeah.
Arun. Yeah, sorry for my late. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, I just.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ganga Gopal, sir, for joining in for your valuable time. We are looking forward. So, you will be speaking now or you'll be speaking later as per your feasibility we can.
Yeah, I think I just prepared the company introduction. If you're okay, I can just kickstart it now.
Sure, sure, definitely. So, yeah, so dear participants and dear audience, we have Mr. Ganga Gopal, sir, who is the regional sales director from Muvella. Yeah, with this short introduction, I would be I would be passing the floor to Mr. Ganga Gopal, sir. Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So let me just
Uh, kindly make sir as co-host. So
yeah.
sir
Can
can
you just
present.
allow me to share my screen?
Yeah. Aditi, you can make sir as co-host.
Yeah, once it's completed, let me know. Still, I don't have the access. I'll wait for it. Yeah.
Aditi, are you there? Mohit?
Yes, be a sir is co-host now. Sir
Yes,
got it.
must.
Let me try. Yeah, one moment.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Uh, So let me know once you can see my screen, Arun.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Perfect. Yeah. I think I just prepared a short, Movella introduction. And of course, Arun already just, set up some background about our, support to this program being a motion tracking company. So let me just quickly go through, a few slides on the company and also the products and solutions what we provide in this space so that the students and the community can just make use of it. Let me just quickly just dive through. Movella, we are a 23 years old company, headquartered in the US, near Las Vegas, in Nevada. Okay, so she's waiting in the room. You want to accept someone? Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
we have close to 300 plus employees. As we mentioned, we are a leading, technology innovator in 3D motion tracking technology. And the entire, hardware and software products all are, in-house developed, and we have a complete R&D research and development team. And also most of these motion trackers, the wireless sensors, and also the complete body suits are, manufactured within our, company. So we have in motion tracking and sensor fusion algorithm area over 180 patents already approved, and also several patents are registered waiting for approval, all in the area of 3D motion tracking technology, right? So as I mentioned, we have global offices right from our headquarter location in the United States of America. We also have our major operations in Enschede in the Netherlands, the Holland, and we have in New Scotland in Canada, our office. And also we have Asia Pacific offices located from Shanghai to Taipei in Taiwan, and we also have offices in Singapore and Bangalore. So the Bangalore India office is covering the entire APAC South region. That's where I head as a regional director. We have a 15 members office in Bangalore. If you're familiar with Bangalore, in Manyata Embassy Tech Park, we have a major setup where we have product specialists, sales account managers, and engineering development teams supporting various products, which I'll be going through. So since beginning of this year, we are publicly traded in NASDAQ. We have worldwide partners. We work with a lot of integration partners such as Siemens, Dassault, Delsys, various other product companies, in the area of human motion measurements, which are heavily used in sports science, sports performance, healthcare, biomechanics analysis, rehabilitation, physiotherapy, right? So if you name any kind of ergonomic science, ergonomics analysis, rehabilitation, right? Those area, health and sports are major focus, as well as we cover a lot of other entertainment area and also automation and mobility, right? So the last bullet talks about Xsense and Kinect are now part of Movella. These are all previously two different company, Xsense motion tracking, and Kinect provides a Canada-based company athletic management software. So this provides the entire suits of sports personal management system. Sorry about the background noise. I think I just work from home. Today is Sunday. It's a lot of background noise. Yeah. So so let me just quickly dive into the next slide. One moment. All right. Oh, it's pretty slow. Right. So if you look at as a company, as I mentioned, we are heavily focused on automation and mobility, health and sports, and entertainment. These are all the three major vertical market segment our entire company focuses. And automation and mobility, if we talk about, I have each one, one slide. The automation mobility is an individual sensor, what we provide to a lot of robotics manufacturer, robotic design companies who are designing a lot of agricultural vehicles, warehouse and logistic robotics, the autonomous mobile robotics, and ground vehicles for autonomous cars and autonomous trucks, and also the flying cams like unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, platform stabilization used in satellite platform stabilization kind of area. Of course, your area of work is more of the human motion measurements, which I will cover in the next slides. So this slide talk about entertainment. We also closely work with a lot of studios, filmmaking company, game development company, advertisement company who are making animations, right? So we develop a lot of products, motion capture products and software to work on 3D character animation kind of an environment, where we work with a lot of live entertainment, live broadcasting companies, where they want to animate, where they want to develop a lot of a news article with an animation characters and all, right? So we work on providing hardware and software for those kind of studios and game development companies. This is your more relevant area, right? So Arun, if I'm correct, right? I think people are more on the healthcare side, correct? Right. So this is where what we call the human motion measurements. This is a full body motion tracking systems, and also there is a development kits for research and your own development purpose for a custom build applications. So we work with a lot of, different companies, hospitals, healthcare research institutes, universities who are working on any kind of human motion measurements, products and solutions. So we, in a very high level, we categorized into 4 major areas. The first one is ergonomic science. So ergonomics is used in, human ergonomics, or product design ergonomics, right? So there are various, manufacturing industry cares about how to optimize the production or manufacturing, plant, right? The industry 4.0, people work on ergonomic science, or people's, workers productivity analysis. That's part of even healthcare aspects, so they want to analyze fatigue of the people who are working for 8 hours in their factory, in a, daily manufacturing plant or production facility, right? So you want to make sure their whole body biomechanics, or joint angles and segments are properly, managed, so that they don't get hurt or injury or go sick very often, right? So this is the optimal way of, designing the workplace, or making sure you design the assembly, bench or whatever the place you give for the workers to, work. So optimally, ergonomically designed and provided, right? So that their productivity can be increased, so that their lifespan and health is maintained, right? So sports science and sports performance, and also in medical, you can call sports medicine, right? Is another area how to enhance the, high performance, there are a lot of high performance centers to improve performance of the athletes, sports personals, right? So various sports people can just use this motion tracking system to enhance the performance, to train people on, what is the best stroke in cricket. If you see in India, very popular, right? How to make, better stroke, right? How to do a fast bowling, what kind of phase they can do, right? Yorker, if they want to stroke, what kind of thing. You can teach them with a good bowler already, who can wear, and then you can record his stroke, and then you can just give them, kind of, movements to the people who are learning, right? And rehabilitation, the hospitals they use. We work with a lot of research institutes and the hospitals, wherever there is a rehabilitation center, they use our motion tracking system and software to analyze, right? And any kind of general biomechanics research. Okay. As I mentioned, I cover Southeast Asia, India, Singapore, Malaysia. We have a lot of the Singapore General Hospital and Malaysian Medical Council, in KL, Kuala Lumpur. So most of the major hospitals and the health centers, currently using, these kind of motion trackings, products. We had a lot of demos. We supplied products there, they use it on the patients for rehabilitation, sports medicines purpose. Yeah. So as I mentioned, these are all the applications, right? Any kind of biomechanics analysis, right? Walking posture analysis, what we call gait analysis, right? So gait is very important when you want to just, analyze people's walking, whether they walk straight correctly or not, so that they don't get the knee injury and other injuries, in a later point of times, right? You correct them accordingly. So all kind of, you see ergonomics, I mentioned about digital factory and digital twins and production location, right? And any kind of wearable solutions. These products are used. So when I talk about, the technology and also the application at a very high level, so what we offer as an actual hardware and software products for you to just, use or try and evaluate, right? So as a company, we offer 2 major hardware products. Both are nothing but, the motion tracking systems. The first one is called MVN Avinda. MVN Avinda is a full body motion tracking system or motion capture system. In short form, we call mocap, motion capture, right? So these mocap systems, if you look at this MVN Avinda type, the first type is a strap-based system. If you look at this person, he is having strap all over the body from head to foot. There are multiple places, certain, joint locations. He has, straps on it. On the strap, there is an orange color tracker, sensor placed. You can see a small rectangular, orange color trackers. These are all the wireless trackers, 3D sensor placed on his body on the strap. These wireless trackers are transmitting his body movements. Okay. All these 17 trackers are sensor fusion, and it wirelessly transmit, and there will be a receiving station connected to your computer or laptop, wherever software by name MVN Analyze Pro running. So whatever the movements he makes, this person, after wearing this mocap suit of sensors, when he walks or bends or jumps or run, entire motion wirelessly transmitted to the receiving antenna station connected to your computer, where the software will capture his motion data in an animated format. And then you can record it. You can also export into any format. You can output an Excel data of the whole body kinematics data, right? So I'll talk about it in the subsequent slides, right? So this allows you to capture the motion 60 frames per second. You see on the right side, bottom output rate is 60 hertz. Okay. So pretty quickly, you can just capture in a minute 60 frames of his movement, and that is a wireless range. And once you charge the entire 17 trackers for 1 hour, you can go up to capturing 6 hours. So the battery will last for 6 hours for capturing, continuous capturing. Okay. Without any recharging required. The second system is called MVN Link system, slightly high-end compared to the previous Avinda system. This is a little bit, high-end, what I said, 240 frames per second. That one is 60 frames per second. This is 4 times faster. Output rate is 240 frames. Any high dynamics movement, fast running, fast jumping, fast sports activity, right, can be measured using these. So this is a full body Lycra suit. This lady is wearing full body Lycra suit. In the suit, you can place the sensors inside. The wired sensor can be placed and removed, and you can pack it separately. The suit can be folded, washed, dried up, and then again reuse it, right? This is a Lycra flexible material, okay? And once you charge a single battery, powers up the entire 17 trackers here. 9.5 hours of battery life it provides. More wireless range because it's work on Wi-Fi, connectivity. So both are similar systems for motion capture from us. One for beginning, for the 60 frames per second for the beginners to have a moderate level of capturing, but quality is same. 60 frames, 6 hours of work and short wireless range. Wherein MVN Link 240 frames per second, 9.5 hours of battery life with extended Wi-Fi wireless range. More coverage for people to just move around and do a lot of activity, so that the wireless router can capture chill. So this is software what I was talking about. Analyze Pro will work seamlessly with whether Avinda or Link system. Both the hardware, whatever I had shown the previous slides, right? So those two can be used along with Analyze Pro software to capture the motion. In the picture you can see, right? Somebody jumping and rolling and falling on the floor, right? One software can allow you to capture 4 people at a time doing interaction, fighting sequence, interaction sequence, dancing. In the animation they use it, right? A lot of things, people capture as a character, right? So for a scientific research, human motion measurements in the healthcare domain, people more worried about the 3D kinematics data. It provides 23 segments, 22 joint angles of the biomechanics of the human body, a body center of mass, graphical representation. When you talk about these segments and joint angles, right? Because our sensors provide roll, yaw, pitch. It has accelerometer to provide linear acceleration or velocity, how much it moves on the straight line. And also it provides a gyroscope, galvanometer, the tilt and direction, how much, the deviation in terms of the angular deviation, right? It provides when the body moves left or right, right? So, and also it provides which direction you move with respect to the magnetic north, because it has a magnetometer, whether you are walking towards east or west or north or south, right? It provides a coordinate. So in a 3D, it provides XYZ coordinates, roll, yaw, pitch, what we call, that's a principle of any moving objects, right? In a 3D space, okay? So output format, you can take industry standard any format. It also output an Excel file where all the 3D, the 23 segments and 22 joint angles data are available in a 3-dimensional way. The quaternions and, if you're familiar with the biomechanics, all kind of, scientific data, you can get it. right? You can also do further analysis with industry available, like a Siemens Jag, Vive Lab Ergo, Dassault system, Visual 3D, so biomechanics of the body, there is a software, right? So you can use any kind of analysis software to integrate with our system to take this output, and then you can take a meaningful report. We also provide MVN cloud reports, which gives gate reports, range of motion, and lot of center bank, lot of sports related reports, ergonomics report it provides, so that you can analyze, as a healthcare person or doctor or physician can take this report and analyze and give you, meaningful, prescription or advice to your patients or, consulting people, right? Yeah. So this talks about Analyze Pro, various movements, backflip, dancing, sports activity, climbing up a multiple, floor in a staircase, or you can going down to a, underground, a floor, or you can also climb a tree or a mountain. Any kind of elevation, height tracking is possible, right? This is an animation. When you are wearing, you can just track it very quickly. Okay. So I'm almost just, end of my few slides, right? This is my almost pretty much last slide. So with Movella Xsense, we promise, production quality motion capture in all kind of field condition. You don't need to be doing only at your lab or in a college research institute or in your own company. You can do it on your roadside, in a park side, and in your garage, any place, anywhere and everywhere, easy to carry. And you can go to your patient's house. You can just, quickly strap up the patient, and then you can capture the data and then give them a report, right? So it's easy to carry mobile any place, and you don't have to worry about the surrounding, because the other way of capturing motion is using camera, optical motion camera. There are some, companies who provide camera-based motion capture, but these all need to be fixed in a particular lab or in a studio, in a institute, in a house, right? Fixed location. You cannot carry that everywhere, right? Wherein this can be carried everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. You can work on it and then start capturing, right? So it also magnetic immunity. You don't need to worry about, any iron body, steel material, magnetic interferences. The wireless signal will not get distorted. The software is already completely, the sensor and softwares are magnetic immune. So we have the algorithm to take care of it, so that the wireless transmitting data will not get, interfered by any wireless signal, magnetic interferences, surrounding you. Okay. Yeah. So that's a a very quick overview about what we do as a company, right? Very, very, quick introduction. And I think I work with Arun. We are here to just mention that, as I mentioned, all these systems are available in my Bangalore, Movella office. I think as part of your program, if you want to try anytime, you can inform us few days in advance. My contacts are here, my WhatsApp number and my email ID. Of course, you can contact through Arun and team, and reach out to us, if you want to come to our office and then try it out and test it out, motion tracking, analyze, or furthermore, you want to see a live demo, somebody can strap on their own body, their own subject, can bring in and then try it out, right? We are very happy to help, and then part of this program, you can develop, a couple of your own, example projects or research papers. Yeah. Or if you're within India or within Southeast Asia, you please do let us know. We can also sometime, visit your office, right? During our regular business visit. We do travel all over India, different cities or, different countries, within Southeast Asia to support you people. Yeah.
That is really a great presentation, sir, and thank you for your time and coming here and sharing the insights, and wholeheartedly you're extending the welcome, and you're supporting the students to come and explore their opportunities at your unit. So first of all, I would like to thank on behalf of Indian Pharmaceutical Association Students Forum. And obviously we'll be using this one of the greatest opportunity, like all the students who are participating for this hackathon. And also I would be mentioning, we generally IPASF organize student congress across the nation, like a conference of around 3,000 to 4,000 students community, and also the pharmacy graduates and the entrepreneurs. More than 10,000 members would be participating in an IPC, that is Indian Pharmaceutical Congress, which IPA organized since last 73 years. They're organizing in India. So the 74th Congress might be going to happen in Hyderabad soon in February, and Student Congress is going to happen in Coimbatore or in Dehradun within these 3 to 4 months. So we would be looking forward in collaborating for future activities as well. So I would be thanking Mr. Arun Nadarasa sir for pitching us here, and we look forward for fruitful collaboration. Thank you,
Definitely.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks for the
Gangasa.
opportunity.
That. And just to follow up to what Gangasa said, so basically, correct me if I'm wrong, Gangasa. So basically, you're saying that any participant of the hackathon can contact you and get access to the Movela equipment to generate any kind of medical movement. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow. So I just want to emphasize on how mind-blowing this is, a huge opportunity thanks to Gangasa support for the pharmacy student, because if you want to do something like this in Europe, you have to go to the head office or like a Movela headquarter, and it can cost several amount of money. I won't say the amount. And the opportunity that's given to Gangasa is priceless. So please do take this opportunity to all the hackathon participants. Even if you're not participating, if you have a great idea, do get involved. And what I was discussing with Sinat yesterday is basically some of the movement you can try to work on is basically injection technique, for example, for the flu vaccine, COVID-19, insulin technique, adrenaline injection, and also CPR technique, basic lab support, for example, chest compression, roscrew breath, and also asthma inhaler, when you use an inhaler through either directly into the mouth or through a spacer. Those are some of the basic movement you can play around using the Movela equipment, which should capture the movement, and then you can integrate it into your pharmacy scene. And I believe, Sinat, you want to add an emphasis on injection, but I'll let you give a brief statement on that, maybe.
Yes, sir. Yeah, as this would be a really great opportunity for the participants to use on. And as Arun sir was mentioning, yeah, regarding the vaccination project and cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, these all things you can make an scenes and artificial scenes, and how you can demonstrate the things by using such great intelligence or the technologies available, which our resource persons are providing here. Yeah. So, sir, like you would be announcing like what would be the so along with the participants, they would be able to use these resources. So the winners, top three teams, as Arun sir was mentioning, you can announce right now.
I think what he's trying to say is, I thought he was top to team, but now he's saying all the participants can use the equipment.
Okay, great. That would be great.
Like any opportunity. So basically, even though the participant may not win, if the fact they're taking part in this hackathon shows that they want to help create the foundation, the future of metapharmacy in India, and Gagasa kindly agreed to allow all the participants, which is like crazy.
Yeah,
So
great. Yes, that would be really great. So then definitely all the participants, we would be encouraging them. So generally we are not that aware to access these things, but when such a great people coming over here and allowing us to access it, then that would be really great opportunity as a student also. So yeah, we would be definitely using that. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Thank you. So Arun sir, we can go for the next talks, or
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Sayantika, you can continue.
Thank you so much, sir, for those insightful talk. Next, we will listen to Koby Yogaretnam, founder and partner at Breakthrough Venture Capital, about the power of branding for VC pitching.
This is not the, you have to open the Koby presentation slide.
Hello, Bhaiya, it's just a presentation. It's not a video.
Oh,
Go
okay.
to the
Let me double check what's going on. I'll try to share the link in the thing. Give me 1 second. What's So I'm just loading up the link that was sent out by my friend, Koby. Raising capital. Okay, I shared now in a Zoom text message to everyone. Try this link.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same presentation.
Okay, I share my screen then, and I play the video for some reason. Let me share my screen.
Okay, sir.
I think what must have happened is like the video is only available to me. I didn't realize it was a new current setting. But can everyone see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
you can see.
Hi, everyone. My name is Koby Yogaretnam. I'm here to cover the Raising Capital one-on-one workshop. This is very much about raising capital as a startup and a founder. It covers different stages. So where your company is, if it's from a very early stage to a very mature stage. Yep, I hope you find this workshop useful. A little bit about me. As I said, my name is Koby Yogaretnam. I am a venture capital investor, as well as a bit of a veteran of different innovation accelerator programs across Europe and North America. I've built accelerator programs from scratch, but then also supported other more mature accelerator programs as well. I've worked with roughly about 500 companies to date, all covering different sectors. Most recently, I am working at Breakthrough Venture Capital, which is a new startup fund which myself and my partner are building, focused on underrepresented founders, investing at the seed growth stage, deploying checks of around $250,000 US. We're covering different industries, but yeah, very excited about that new project. But yeah, let's get back to the workshop, which is Raising Capital 101. So today we're covering the basics, such as the different startup rounds, how to choose the right investor for your startup, how to find investors, good tips of how to prepare to talk with investors as well. We also cover a little bit about what should be in your deck, some sort of a bit of elevator pitches, and also Q&A with investors, me being the investor. But what we will do today is we will get you to send in over questions to the leadership team of this program, and those questions will be passed over to me, and I'll answer them back in due course. So it's you that wants to be a founder, right? And if you don't want to raise capital, you don't want to become a CEO. Raising capital is a CEO's most important thing that they do. It is also a very time-consuming job. Now, you've got to deliver a very compelling and organic, natural pitch, and that only comes with practice, but you need a little bit of finesse. You need to stand out from the crowd. Everyone is pitching, if it's for capital, if it's for relationships, everyone is pitching, so you've got to be able to stand out. We also, and I personally understand, and I've been on the investor side of the table as well as the entrepreneurs, operator side of the table, so I've been raising capital in my life as well. I understand that pitching can put entrepreneurs in a very vulnerable position. When you're pitching about your baby, if you're pitching about your idea, it becomes very personal. So sometimes when you are pitching, your passion needs to come across. And sometimes you need to be able to accept that there will be criticism around something that you're extremely passionate about. How you take that feedback and what you do with it is also a different thing, and it will open up another can of worms, which we won't go through today. So, as I said, we're going to cover the basics. The basics here today. We're looking at the different startup funding rounds. I'm unaware of where everyone is in here that's watching this workshop, where they actually sit in sense of what round size, what company size they are at. But if we look at the left-hand side of this chart, you can see that we start from the seed stage, going up all the way up to the corporate mezzanine stage. But most startups that I've been dealing with are from the seed stage, going to Series A, Series B and C rounds. The seed stage nowadays is cut up into three different type of stages. So we can look at a friends and family round, which is a little bit of change to build out an idea. We have a pre-seed round, we have the seed round, and we have the seed growth round. These are all different stages which are now found in that seed stage round. And then you kick on to the next level, which is the Series A rounds itself. And you can see it goes higher and higher each time. And normally you're raising more and more each time you start growing in your rounds. Now here you can see a little bit about how the funding breaks down. And you can see on the left-hand side of the chart what pre-seed looks like and what seed looks like. So the average ticket sizes, or the average round size, excuse me, for a pre-seed is roughly around under $1 million. And that normally typically gives you a company valuation about $1 million to $3 million. If you look at seed, that is anything between $150,000 to about $1.5 million, which again give you about $3 to $6 million in valuation. This also then changes in Series A, Series B, and Series C. But if we look at the pre-seed seed area, you can see those numbers are very relative in the sense of they stay stable. They stay stable across quite a few different industries. Apart from some standout ones are, I would say, stuff like health tech, medical research, or drug discovery, where things such as IP laws come into play. And patents also come into play as well. So if you have a patent in your pre-seed, you could probably raise a much higher valuation because you have something quite tangible to present. So this is all, as I said, quite relative in the sense of it's industry agnostic, and also in terms of it is in dollars, but this does translate well into different currencies as well. So here's an interesting chart, which is very important to see, and you can see the source there of this table. You can see here in the top left-hand side, a pre-seed round, what type of investors actually join the round. So you can see, as I said, pre-seed is similar to seed investors. You look at friends and family, you look at early stage angels, and you can potentially look at startup accelerators as well. Sorry, I just had to sneeze then during the recording. Typical company stage on a pre-seed is pre-product. So your product is definitely being built. It's at a very early stage. And normally a pre-seed round is that the cash is normally spent on hiring critical team members and also developing the prototype as well. If we cross over to the seed stage, you can see the typical investors there are angels, very early stage VCs that focus on seed stage companies, again, accelerator programs. The typical company stage, you can see a signs of product market fit, some traction. If we look at traction, that could be something like you've got some potential customers that you're looking to trial with, some letter of intents, potentially even some early stage revenue of some early stage adopters of your product as well. Typically, that money that you raise in that round is spent on basically growing the product itself, and also spending a little money on product development too. The Series A and Series B and the C rounds are also there as well. So you can see exactly the different types of investors, where the company should be in terms of stage, what they should be doing, and also typically what the cash is spent on in each round. So here we're going to cover the three most common types of investors for startups. And this is just something that I've put together, which I think is quite important. So we've got the angel investor, you've got the venture capital investor, and you've also got something on which is, I think, is getting quite common now, is family offices. Angel investors are typically high net worth individuals and they invest into small businesses and provide capital in exchange for equity in the company itself. Angels can be found through your network. Angels can be found through angel networks as well, which is basically a group of angel investors syndicating their cash or pooling their money together. It's an interesting play. They normally, I'll go into actually a little bit further in the next slide around what the detailed look of an angel is. A venture capital investor is basically a firm or a company that is part of the private sector. They have a pool of cash that they draw down or they receive from corporations, foundations, pension funds, and organizations. They're traditionally called limited partners. The venture capital investor is a fund manager, so they manage their fund on behalf of their LPs who invest into the fund, and then they deploy that cash into companies which match the thesis of the fund. Then you've got family offices. Family offices normally are the ones that traditionally and still are investing into venture capital funds as LPs, but they become now they're becoming more direct investors. They're direct investing into companies itself. Now, the question is why? Now, normally with funds, when you invest into when you invest into a fund, the family office or the private wealth management, the private equity that goes into the fund is charged a management fee by the fund managers. Now, to avoid these management fees, these family offices are making direct investments into venture capital companies, into companies that are looking for venture capital. So they avoid the fee, they get much higher return because they're not paying a fee anymore. And they're also notably looking at quite interesting kind of technologies. So a family office may say that they want to get more exposure to artificial intelligence companies or deep tech or Web3 or crypto companies, and they will make direct investments. So if we look at a detailed look of an angel, you'll see that some of the advantage of working with angel investor is that they close much quicker. They do much less due diligence, and they don't interfere in the day-to-day running of your business. And they very normally, they are less aggressive with the terms that they demand from being part of the deal. So when I say shorter closing time, the reason being the shorter closing time is because you're talking to one person. That one person is the person that holds the pen on the check, and also is the person that makes a decision regarding the investment. Rather than a venture capital fund, there are more people involved, investment committees, management teams, partners, due diligence team, researchers that all have to do the due diligence, where an angel is normally a one-person, one-man band, making those decisions quicker. Now, their investment is also a smaller amount, so that's a disadvantage than institutional investors like a VC, but depending on the size of the round that you're looking to raise, that might work for you. A lot of these are the disadvantage of trying to scope out angel investors is that it very much depends on your personal network, like who you know, who's in your circle, but it also comes down to how hungry you are. You can go and personally network with people at networking events that are angels, at pitch events that are angels, liaise directly with angel networks. So in the UK, we have the British Angels Network, I think it's called. Then you've got the Angel Syndicate Network as well. So there's different networks in different countries that are all angels syndicating their cash together, pooling their money together, or sharing deals with each other as well. They also won't prepare you for raising money institutionally. They normally just cut you a check and basically let you get on with their business. When it comes to your next round, they don't really help. But some good angels are scouted by the larger funds because those angels are very good at finding deals. So those bigger funds like to find out which projects angels are invested into, and then they follow on. So that's also a good thing. Now, why you want to choose this route? As I said, you can raise a small amount quickly. There's less strings attached to the deal. It's good for people with large networks that like networking. They don't normally take board member seats. It's very uncommon for such a small ticket to take a board member seat as well. And they also don't. It's for people that don't need help setting up a governance structure as well. If we look at the VC side of things and we look at exactly the advantages there, now with a VC, as I said, they have much bigger teams. With bigger teams, they have much more experienced people, people that are basically experts in industries. So when they do invest, they normally provide you, if you need, support, experience, advice, sector knowledge. So that's why if you are a deep tech fund, you should be looking at knocking on every deep tech fund around the world, just because if you get investment, you not only get the money, you get a lot of support as well, which is important from people or from specific industries. They'll also help you identify and reach a targeted exit. Now, when VCs make their money, a little bit of backstory of venture capital funds. When a venture capital fund normally opens on days 1, it has 10 years to invest and then exit their positions and then return their investment plus the profits to their investors. So the life of each fund is roughly about 10 years. So when you are getting investment, they are always looking to identify what is the potential way that they're going to exit their position in your company. So they will also work with you to explain that as well, and really explain and identify what a good exit looks like for them, not just financially, but also what's going to look good for them to exit in the future for your company as well. So they could exit in 6 years' time to a very, very big private equity firm that wants to buy out their position in your company, or they may get you ready to IPO in 6, 7 years' time, 8 years' time. So these are different ways that they can position and identify an opportunity to exit. And yeah, so that's one of they're the key advantages. The disadvantages wise, because of the level of support they provide, and it is a tremendous amount of support that they can provide, they value themselves quite highly, which means they normally set quite aggressive terms, which can be negotiated, but they normally are quite aggressive terms. But that is the venture capital space, and every founder should get used to that. Now, the supposed value add may not be transferable to your industry or company. So if it's an agnostic, or if it's a deep tech fund which is trying to make a play into the Web3 space for the first time, they may not be able to transfer their industry expertise to you because it's an initial first play into the Web3 space. So that's something to think about. Who should go for this route? So people that are founders that are looking at near-term exit as a primary goal, someone that wants to, or company wants to leverage their industry knowledge, as I mentioned to you before, and also founders that are looking for big investment checks as well, that you normally find in the angel round. Again, family offices, it's a hybrid between the VC and angel investor. They offer much more cash than angel investing, but not as much as the VC firms. But they're more mission driven. As I said, they're very specific on industries when they make direct investments. They won't prepare you for the large institutional round. Then they're not that savvy to do that. And they don't offer much more extra than cash. They're not going to provide you with the industry knowledge and things like that either. They have a very unstructured process because the process of direct investing is still quite new, but people are doing it, and family offices are doing it successfully, but they don't have processes in place. So it might be a little bit like you're dealing with under, shall we say, professional or not so professional kind of group of people. Now, who wants to choose this route? Those people that are founders that are looking for the flexibility and casualness of angel investing, but want the bigger check, which means they're looking for someone that's hands off, looking for someone that's not going to be keeping breathing down their neck, offering advice all the time. So someone that's more like an angel, but bigger check sizes. Interesting part here. This is about how to find investors. Now, you can find investors from all walks of life. So you can read up about them online. You can read PR comms around other companies that have successfully raised and who they raised from, and you can do your research that way. But if you're looking for a particular type of investors, what I would advise you to do is to start creating an investor tracker or like a list. You can do that in a Google Sheet. You can look at much more civilized or much stronger investor tracking software pieces online as well. Don't go and buy lists of investors. There are so many LinkedIn posts of people trying to sell lists of investors and stuff like that. Don't do that. And if people have done that before, you get a big list, which is something that you're just going to have to go through. A lot of the data is out of date, etc. And once you paid it, there's no real kind of return policy. Now, what I've done and what I've advised in the past is there's already interesting platforms out there to help you find investors to support you. And what I have just listed here is 6 really interesting ones: Gus, Crunchbase Pro, LinkedIn, Pitch Investors, Live App, Microventures, and WeFunder. But I want to concentrate on one, which is my favorite, which is Crunchbase Pro. The Pro is the premium product. But when you're ready to start searching for investors to actually start raising, and you're comfortable to do that, it is worth the upgrade. Now, the reason why is because you can use their very vast platform to identify VCs that are looking for deals like yours. Let's just concentrate. And I think in this presentation, I've used the education technology landscape, is that you can find investors through filtering for your specific industry, your specific stage, their location, and whatnot. And that's really important. And I tell you why. You can go and look, if you're an ed tech company, for instance, or a deep tech company, why not go and find all the most active deep tech investors in the last 6 months that have invested in the seed stage in the UK? That literally ticks many boxes that you may be looking for. Or you're looking for an ed tech investor that invests only in companies in India and China. That's another filter you can use. Now, at the bottom, I've used some example searches, which are very, very powerful. So, as I said, the first one I did was how to look for European investors who invest in seed rounds. That's a big kind of filter right there, right? What's the point in looking for a Series B or Series A round investor when you're raising a seed round, right? Now, another one is looking for Nordic investors who invest into US and Asian companies, right? If you're an Indian company, you could be looking at companies that are investors that are in Europe that invest or have heavily invested in Indian companies. They may think the Indian market is a very strong emerging market, so they're focusing capital in that area. So it's a really good filter to find out. And there's some other examples as well. European investors that have had 5+ exits in the investment space in EdTech startups with more than 1 to 5 investors in their angel or Series A round. So here's some top 10 tips when preparing to talk to investors. What I would, number 1, do is try and contact at least 100 investors. The 100 investors that you contact and you start creating relationships with, potentially 10 end up becoming good relationships. And out of 10, you may look at getting 2 to 3 investors on board. So start creating that list up very quickly of a short list or a long list of 100 investors that you've specifically curated that potentially could be targets investors for your company. Now, number 2, relationship building is so crucial. So you've got to start early. If you're looking to build a company and you want to raise some money, you cannot be, an introvert. You have to be out there. You have to be talking to people. You've got to keep people engaged on your company and what you're doing. Now, I've invested into companies that I've been speaking to for 2 years before I've even made a decision about investing, right? And that comes down to one thing, which is I need to really know what that founder's about. I need to know what that company is about. I want to see growth. I want to see that entrepreneur actually evolve themselves too. So it's really important that you start building relationships. And you may not be raising money today, but you may meet someone tomorrow that's an investor and they might seem interested in you and you might be interested in them. Keep them up to date. Get their email address. Send them quarterly updates about what your company's doing. These things are really important. And it really helps in building those relationships up and keep people engaged. So think about that at all times. The venture community is so small, so please do not burn bridges. I've been in conversations previously with other investors where they've name dropped me or the name dropped a fund that I've been working with and said that they are going to be issuing a check to the round. That other investor calls me and said, "Is this true?" And I'll say no. Immediately that founder is blacklisted for lying, right? It's happened. So make sure you don't burn bridges. Make sure you keep relationships good. If someone turns you down, don't worry about it. Ask for feedback, take it away, work on it. Go to another fund, go to another investor, and start building up a new relationship with them. Do not burn bridges. Very important. Building passion into your pitch every day is so, so important. And it's one of the hardest jobs for a CEO to do. and is to actually keep that passion alive. You know, when you're pitching day in, day out, it's difficult because you're just basically a record on repeat. But please be important. And you know, that passion, when you've got a small team, when you're on the early stage, like if you're passionate about your pitch, it really does get felt by the other founders and the other team members. And they will also be enthusiastic about pitching, enthusiastic about talking to investors, and also finding investors as well. If you've got a bad pitch, people don't want you. People don't want to hear from you. People don't want to make introductions. So always be passionate about what you're doing. This is important, but something which is not spoken about that often is that how often should you be following up with investors? Because normally the first time you reach out to investor cold, it doesn't have, you know, you don't get a reply. You probably don't get a reply back, even if you get a warm introduction. But my rule is follow up 3 times. Now, if you really want to land them as an investor or get a conversation, follow up as many times as you like until they turn around and say to you, stop hassling me, or I'm not interested because of this reason. Give it a couple of days before you send out that second follow-up email. Give it a couple of weeks before you send that third email as well. But please just remember that there is nothing wrong with following up. It just shows that you're hugely motivated to land that investor. It's hugely important to show that you're persevering on the fundraising journey as well. So don't feel downhearted when investors don't get back to you. They get a lot of inbound, so they are doing a lot of work in the background. Even though you may think just sitting on a yacht somewhere, that's not the case. They are very hardworking, and at the end of the day, they are judged on their own performance. They need to find the best companies to invest into. So that's basically what they do all the time. This is important as well, deciding the selling metrics and selling a big vision. When you're an early stage startup company, one of the important things here are sometimes you might not actually have something tangible to sell. So you need to sell the big vision, i.e. you need to say why your company is going to be the best company doing X, Y, Z in the UK, in India, in Singapore. Now, you need to be able to back that up. You need to have data points, right? And be able to show why you're going to do that. Right? That is selling the big vision. Now, if you're selling metrics, it's a very different thing. When you're selling metrics, you're not selling a dream anymore because you've actually got real metrics to actually prove, and you've got the data points to prove that you're onto something, i.e. you have had 10 conversations with clients and you've closed 8 of those 10 conversations. Each deal is worth $100,000. Very important selling metrics that if you present in a very clear, concise way, like I just did, an investor understands very quickly to say, number 1, you know how to sell your product. Number 2, you've got traction. Number 3, you've got validation, right? So these are really important things that you need to think about. So if you don't have a product, you are selling a big vision. How do you make that big vision convincible and not just a pipe dream? And then when you're selling the metrics, make sure you're really clear on the data points that you have and why you're not fudging the data to only benefit your pitch. So just make sure that if you're challenged, you have the data points and you have the metrics to back up your vision. Important as well is to pre-qualify an investor. The amount of times I've had investors message me and say to me, do you invest into this area? Or do you invest in this type of stage? It's really annoying. I don't even reply back to those messages because they can find all that information online. Right? It shows that they haven't done, they're being lazy. It shows they haven't pre-qualified investors. And that's what's important. So do that. When you're creating your list of investors, pre-qualify them. Make sure they know your industry. Make sure that they invest into the rounds that you're looking to launch. What kind of average check size, etc. Do that. It saves you a lot of time. And most of that information is available on their websites, the investors' websites. Important, whilst I said that being a CEO, raising capital is one of the most important jobs, don't run your business like raising money is the main objective. Sometimes, and this happens quite often, the CEO and the CFO or the founding team is so busy raising money, they forget that they've got a business to run, right? And it trickles down to the other founders, other team members as well. That if the senior team is always fundraising, people start worrying about the runway of a company, right? So you've got to be present. You've got to manage your time well without ignoring the opportunity to raise capital. But no employee wants to be working for a company that's always raising money, right? And failing to raise money as well, because they're always worried about, okay, do I have to start looking for a job soon? So please be careful about that when you are raising capital, to make sure that you're still on top of your business, and in your business, being visible, building it, growing it, being enthusiastic about it. It's very important to nurture that type of culture, to nurture a different type of culture within your company. Practice your pitching. I can't or cannot emphasize this any more than it is on this page. Practice, practice, practice. Record yourself, pitch in front of your friends, practice with, I call it junk investors. Like, just basically junk investors that you could pitch to, that you don't care if they say no, but you just want to practice. You want to get in front of them, and it will only improve you. The more times you invest, the better you get, gives you much more stronger opportunity to get things right and figure out what the best pitch for you is. So practice, practice, practice. Record yourself. That is so important. A lot of people don't realize is recording yourself on video, playing it back, and realizing, man, I use the word because too much. I use the word disrupt too much. I got too many buzzwords in my pitch. I don't sound believable. These are things that you should be wary of. This is hugely important, and founders, early stage founders, don't really give this much attention. I think it needs a lot of time and attention. When you are creating your decks and your pitch decks, think about 3 different things. One, which is hugely important, which I use a lot, is the 1-pager or the 2-pager. It's a concise bullet point, a lot of data there to really show what your business is about and what your startup is about, right? This is something that can be flicked on WhatsApp, Telegram. You can talk over dinner rather than a whole 20-page pitch deck. Like, you can sit there with someone at a bar, at a restaurant, and just let them look at it, and you can talk over it, right? Really, really important. I think it's so important. It's very much undervalued as well. The second one is the deck that you pitch with in person. So this is the deck that you are going to be doing. You're going to be presenting over Zoom, presenting in person at an angel's office or a VC's office. And that is a deck which requires you to speak over, okay? This deck is very different to number 3, which is a deck that you can just email and doesn't have you narrate over that deck, right? The third deck is a deck that you can send someone, which people, the audience does not need you to speak over, right? So it's got to be informative. All the content, all the facts, the appendix, everything all needs to be there. Because when that deck gets sent around to a VC, it's maybe sent around to a couple of different people within the organization, right? What normally happens in a VC fund, if they get a deck, it goes to a central depository, and 5 or 6 people within the company look at the deck, right? That you are not going to be there to present it. So please be careful that deck 2 and deck 3 are very different. Something else which just came to mind, which is also important. Number 4 is having a website. Having a website, making sure it's just a small 1-pager coming soon. Have a little bit of information about what you're doing and what you're planning on doing. Having your socials up to date, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, etc. Make sure that's up to date as well when preparing to talk to investors. Hugely important. Here we're going to cover very quickly what should be on your pitch deck, right? On the bigger pitch decks, the ones that you pitch, etc., you should try and make the slide count around 15 to 20 slides, and make sure, from my point of view, that you're covering these bullet points without a doubt. You've got to cover the problem. You've got to cover your solution and what is your value proposition. Talk about your business model. How are you going to build this product? How are you going to generate revenue? Where's the income coming from? Talk to me about the competition. Do some competitor analysis. Don't tell me you're the only company that does this, because I will rip up your deck. Look at what's in the market. Even if someone is not doing something similar or doing something the same as you, show me other companies that have done something similar or near about, and then tell me why you're different to them. Talk to me about the founding team. I want to know why you people in that team is the best team to build out this company. Also talk to me about your fundraising as well. Have you done any fundraising to date? If not, what are your fundraising plans? What are you going to be spending that money on? And who are your target investors? This is a really cool slide, which I think is very important. These slides will be shared with you as well by the leadership team here. So just I'll get this over to you so you guys can see it as well. Here you can see some of the top in the top line. You can see 500 startups, Guy Kowalski, Sequoia, NextView, Crowdfunder, and Airbnb's pitch deck. Right. The slides that they say is important, and the Airbnb pitch deck at the end is what points that they covered in their own pitch deck. And on the left-hand side, you can see all the different points that were covered in each deck, or they like to get covered in each deck. So if we look at Sequoia, for instance, they like 11 slides, right? The problem and the solution value proposition is actually required across every single one of these companies. But Sequoia also want to talk about market validation. They want to see product. They want to talk about market size. They also want to talk about business model, etc. And you can see all the way down. NextView Ventures, 15 plus slides, and they're covering a lot more, right? So here's a very good understanding of what different type of funds, different type of investors, and also Airbnb's pitch deck, what normal content they like to see in their slides. And that's it. We've gone about 34 minutes into this workshop. I will round it off here, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the leadership team. They will pass over those questions to me, and I'll get back to you in due course. Enjoy the rest of the time of the program, and I hope to speak to you soon. Thanks.
Yeah, that was the end of the recording from Koby. So Sana, I'll let you take over.
Yes, that was really great. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Koby for his time and his session. I think the participants who were joining these particular workshop sessions, at the end of the session, they would be really like a path for becoming an entrepreneurs in their life. How to pitch an idea, how to promote, how to bring out the fundings. That is really great. So please convey thanks in person to him, sir, for his valuable time. So we would be also conveying, yeah, thank you. So Sayantika, we can move on to the next.
Next, we have Riccardo Goldoni, sir, Operations Lead at ResearchHub Foundation and Tokenomics DAO member, who will explain us about the economics supporting the meta-pharmacy ecosystem.
Mr. Akshat, plate.
I'll be giving a... Hi everyone, I'm Riccardo Goldoni. I'll be giving a webinar in a few minutes. I just wanted to state that everything that I say does not constitute financial advice. So please, take everything that I say as information, for informational purposes only. And while I'm affiliated with a few projects that I'll be mentioning, Tokenomics DAO and ResearchHub Foundation, I will be also speaking about other projects in a decentralized science space. And so again, keep in mind, this does not constitute financial advice, but it is only being used for information for this webinar. Thank you, and I'll see you later in the webinar. I had, the pleasure to be invited to the Metaverse Hackathon this year. And so today we will spend some time together basically talking about tokens, talking about how to design a token, what are some of the most important metrics to take into consideration when designing tokens. And I'll talk about a few case studies, a few examples from what's available already about tokenized ecosystems in the pharma and healthcare space. So without further ado, let me just share my screen so that you could see the presentation on my screen. So so as I was saying, the focus of today's talk is on tokens, and specifically on a specific, I call it case study, because there's tokens in pretty much everywhere in the Web3 space. And so there's different verticals where tokens are being deployed. And one that I'm really passionate about is science and healthcare. And so I'll talk a bit about this today. So the outline is pretty simple. I also kept the talk pretty simple in terms of the jargon. I'll try to make it as clear as possible what I'm talking about, and I'll try to make some more concrete example so that you can take it and go outside, go check out the projects that I'm mentioning and the concept that I'm mentioning and see it by yourself. But at least giving you the necessary elements to understand what you're reading. So I'll talk about what is tokenomics, what are some examples of tokens in pharma and healthcare, and a few key remarks, key takeaways from today's talk in the conclusion. So first of all, a bit about me. So I'm a PhD student actually. So I'm a second year PhD student. I'm close to finishing my second year. I study bioengineering, and so that's why there's this interest that I have for healthcare that's actually related to what I do pretty much in my day-to-day operations at the lab. But I also got I basically felt grew passionate with crypto since 2017, and then I decided to take a more active role in a Web3 space at the end of 2021 when I joined the ResearchHub Foundation as first as an editor and then as an operations lead. So I highly recommend you to check out what we do at ResearchHub. It's basically an open forum for discussion of scientific articles. So many of you might have encountered scientific articles already. So I think this platform is definitely something that you want to check out. Because it relates to many. I'll talk about this platform today a bit, but it relates to many elements that I'll be presenting today. I'm also a host for the Token Engineering Academy, meaning that I facilitate discussion for an Italian study group about best practices in the token engineering discipline. And I am a contributor for Tokenomics DAO, and actually Tokenomics DAO with what brought me here today. So a big thank you to the guys at Tokenomics DAO as well for asking me to do this webinar today. So what we do at Tokenomics DAO is we do dissemination of tokenomics concepts. We do consulting, we do auditing of tokenomics. So really everything about tokenomics, and we're also building our own tokenomics hub platform where you can design your own tokenized ecosystem and basically fill in the necessary elements to see how you're structuring your design, your ecosystem. So let's get into the talk. So what is tokenomics? There's several definitions of tokenomics. There's people that call it token economics. There's people that talk about token engineering. That is more like the engineering side of building tokens. But the reality is that tokenomics is basically economics. So it draws from principles of economics applied to the Web3 space, where we have tokens, where we have NFTs and all those digital assets. But the point is also that not all of these digital assets are the same. They have different properties. So you might be familiar with Bitcoin, with Ethereum. So Bitcoin and Ethereum are already different in their nature. So for example, on Ethereum, you can build other tokens on top of Ethereum, something that you cannot really do on Bitcoin. And there's other type of coins and tokens that you might have heard about. So stable coins are tokens that basically hold a stable value, normally pegged to the dollar. And so within the sea of tokens, there's a few tokens that I feel like are really important when you're trying to design a tokenized ecosystems. And so there's actually three. So one is NFTs. You have heard of NFTs, for sure. NFTs are non-fungible tokens. So basically tokens that you cannot really exchange one for another because they are unique. They have some properties that make them unique. And then there's tokens that are usually fungible tokens, okay, but have different properties. such as utility tokens and security coins. Security coins are basically used for normally crowdfunding. So it's, the ICO tokens. People, sell tokens as, something that, resembles, share of a company. And so people buy security tokens with, the intent of making, a gain out of, investing in these tokens. And so they're, usually intended as, investment contracts. That's why they are security tokens. What a different kind of token is the utility token, and is the one that I'm pretty much going to be talking about today, because I'm talking about utility tokens today. Utility tokens are tokens as other tokens, but have a specific utility. That means that they have a specific function that security tokens, that payment tokens cannot have. And this is normally governance. It can be unlocking specific features. So if I hold this token, I can, for example, access to specific events. I can, unlock specific features on a platform, on a website. And again, governance is one I'll be talking about a lot today. So given that there's so many tokens that you can create, what are the founding principles of creating a tokenized ecosystem? Well, the founding principles are the following ones. First of all, and I'm gonna reiterate this for a bit during the talk, because I feel like it's really, really important and a lot of people don't really get it, is that tokens can only capture value. They don't create it. Value is created by the product. What does that mean? That means that you can create as many tokens as you want. It's really simple to create a token. It's not, today we're not gonna be talking about how to technically create a token, but you put up a smart contract and you can basically mint a token. And it really takes not a lot of time to do it. What it really takes time is designing the token in a way that it can capture the value that you intend to create with your product. And your product can be a lot of things. Your product can be a website, can be a platform that people use and that people, maybe can only access with your token. And so in that case, the token captured the value because, whenever you gain some new users, these users need to buy your token to get onto the platform. And so the token gains value because people value your product, your platform, as essential for them. And that's why they're buying the token to access it. Okay, so really think about, the token as a medium to capture some of the value that you want to create with whatever application you're trying to build, whatever project you are trying to build. But never think about tokens in a way that, hey, I'm going to create a token, and then the day after, people are going to, will want to buy my token just because my token is out there. It's being created. It doesn't work like that. You can create many tokens, but if there's not an underlying value behind the token, people will not really, buy the token, okay? Because there's no reason for that. And so the three main factors that you should keep into account when building your tokenized ecosystem are supply, demand, and ecosystem. So supply basically relates to two important elements. The first one is, how do you distribute the tokens? And this is called allocation, okay? So how do you allocate the tokens that you create? You can, first of all, create a pool of tokens and mint all the tokens, basically, create all the tokens and put all the tokens in circulation, but then you decide how to distribute it. So basically how to divide the pie. And there's an example, this is an example from ResearchHub, from the project that I was mentioning before. We decided to, mint all of the tokens, so 1 billion tokens, and distribute 60% of these tokens to the community, okay? Because we feel like it is the community that needs to have the tokens, and we are creating the value for the community to earn their tokens, okay? And so allocation is basically, how do you divide a pie? How do you choose which segment of your stakeholders will receive the tokens, and for what reasons? Why did you decide for a number instead of another? That's totally up to you. It's really up to you to decide how to divide the pie. But remember that depending on how do you divide the pie, you get some feedback from the public. So if you decide to create a token and then you decide to give to yourself or your team 90% of the token, then there's only 10% that will be distributed to the public. And so people will be like, hey, why did you even create a token in the first place if you reserved 90% of it for yourself? So allocation of tokens, so basically the supply side, is really important. The second really important element of the supply is how do you distribute a token over time, and this is called distribution. So the distribution basically takes into account how many token you allocate to a specific portion of the pie. So again, let's take the example of the community and the time that it will take you to distribute all of the tokens to your section of the pie. So in our case at ResearchHub, we decided to think of distributing the tokens over a period of 12 years. Okay, so 60% divided by 12 years, there's going to be 5% of the supply being distributed every year to the community. Okay, and this is also really important in the same way as the allocation is, because if you create a lot of tokens and you distribute away all of the tokens right at the beginning of your project, then there's not enough interest. There's not enough incentives for people to stick around and use your product and be part of your ecosystem to see the tokens being distributed. No, if you decide to mint them and distribute them away, then you're basically giving the tokens away already, and there's an incentive for people basically to stick around. And so it's important that you decide on your schedule for distributing the token in a way that is feasible for you, that makes your ecosystem sustainable. And I will be talking about sustainability a lot later in the talk. The second point is demand. So whenever you create a token, you obviously have to think about a supply. We just talked about it. So how do you intend to distribute the token? Who's gonna get the tokens, and for what reasons? But then you also need demand. So why would people want to buy my token? Why would people want to earn my token? So where is the demand coming from? And something that is really cool and interesting is that we're doing it at Tokenomics now, is that you can model demand based on some assumptions that you're making. So for example, let's say that I'm creating this project, and at the beginning the token just grants me access to the platform. So that's a demand driver. So people will want to have the token to access the platform. But then what happens when I go to exhaustion of people that can access the platform, and then buy the token for accessing the platform? Then I need other demand drivers to keep that interest alive, and so that people want to buy the token more for accessing other features. So maybe I can put some features behind a paywall, or behind a gate that you can only access with a specific amount of tokens. And so in that case, I incentivize people to hold the token. Or in some other examples, I can make some social events and only grant access to those events to the people that have the token. And so what's really cool is that you can model this quantitatively on Tokenomics now. There's a spreadsheet that we have. There's a free version. There's a more complex version that's paid that you can use to model these elements. Okay, so it's a qualitative analysis where you think about the demand drivers, but then there's also quantitative analysis. Okay, how much is this going to affect my demand? And then you see the graph of supply versus demand. So maybe there's a supply that is being distributed in a linear way, as you can see in the graph here. So from 1 to 36, the token is being distributed in a linear fashion. But with the demand increases depending on specific events, depending on choices that you take at the project level. Okay, so what I wanted you to understand today is that you can model in a quantitative way both supply and demand and put them on a graph and see, hey, is this sustainable? Is the supply way more than demand? So are people just not gonna sustain is the token not gonna sustain its price because people are selling because there's not enough demand and there's a lot of supply? Or is it the opposite? So people are not exchanging the token because there's a lot of demand and no one wants to sell, no one wants to transfer the token, so there's not enough supply. These considerations can be modeled. Okay, this is what I wanted you to know today. You can model it using tools that we have at Tokenomics DAO. So check out our website. You can find a lot of like really important information there. The last element of a tokenomics is the ecosystem. How does the token go around? Okay, there's a lot of ways for you to distribute a token, and this is an image taken from Ocean Protocol, a really important protocol that basically has as an objective function that of curating high, generating high value AI data for AI algorithm, because problem that we have today is that we don't have enough of a high quality data to train our AI models. And so what they do is basically they build this protocol that is based on curation, and they have a token. And so their system is really interesting because their founder, Trent McConaughey, basically created the discipline of token engineering. And so he built basically this sustainability loop where you have to model not only supply and demand, but you have to model also how the token, at least in your mind, because like things don't really go as planned, but like how do you envision your token flowing in the ecosystem? So who buys the token? Then who gets the token from who, for which reason, and then who spends the token in which reason? Okay, and so for example, there's a token generation you can see here, and then the token is used to vote on governance. I told you that governance is important, so depending on how many tokens you have, you can vote on governance proposals, okay? And then you can steer the decisions of the protocol. And then the tokens are used to pay for workers. And so the protocol paid some tokens to the workers to do some work, such as developing the project, doing some outreach, doing some marketing, and so on. And so the work being done is actually generating value for the project. And that's why you want to use tokens to generate value for your project. Because then that value, when the project grows, it then attracts more people that then want to get a token to access your product. So it's all a circle, but you need to be really careful in designing the circle in a way that is sustainable. This is an example of what we have at ResearchHub as our tokenomics. So you can take a look. It's basically, it's a really simple one, but it can get complicated. So maybe for some of you, this may look already complicated. So there's a lot of arrows. There's people, they're buying, they're selling. There's distribution of tokens to some people. So we have a bounty feature where people, for example, can earn tokens and then use the tokens to request services from other people. And so this has been designed. This is being carefully planned. We have thought about, who want to hold the token, who want to buy the token, who want to sell the token. How do we make this sustainable? And then we came up with a design. Obviously, your design has to be tested. And so that's why Tokenomics DAO is trying to provide the tools to basically see by yourself if what you're building is sustainable or not. Well, let's get into the application side of today's talk. So today, let's do a little recap of what I told you. There's a lot of different tokens, okay? So what we're focusing on today is utility tokens. There are tokens that have a specific utility. For example, accessing services, accessing features, accessing events, participating in governance, so voting on governance proposals with your tokens. And what is really important, the three key elements for a tokenized ecosystem are supply, demand, and ecosystem. So how the token flows within your structure. So keep this in mind, because these are really the only important element, not the only one, but like the major important elements that you need to always consider when you're building a tokenized project. So let's talk about tokens in pharma. How does this relate to pharma? Well, I'll give you an example here from the HIT Foundation. If you're an individual, you can basically use, tokens for several reasons. So for several applications, for several services that you might want to access. For example, you as an individual, you generate data. Okay, so you go to a hospital, you take an exam, they get your blood, and there's data in there. There's sensitive data. Obviously, they're sensitive, so always make sure that anything that you're doing within the healthcare and pharma space, which is a highly regulated one, is legal. But there's data, and data could ideally be monetized. Okay, so there's an opportunity there for the application of tokens. whenever you apply tokens to, for example, genomics data or biochemical information. Okay, and so those data can be used by companies that would be willing to maybe pay you for sharing this data, and then you could use some of the tokens that maybe you earn for your data to get a discount when you do go to your medical practitioner to get a visit. Or again, you can and this is listed as bonus reward provider, or again you could ideally stake your tokens. So basically put your tokens in a pool where other people have put their own tokens with their own data, and there's someone that is paying that will be buying the batch of tokens. So in this case, you're participating in a pool, similar to what happens in DeFi today with liquidity pools. You could have liquidity pools of data. Okay, and again, tokens play a really big role in that space. Okay, so tokens can be used in healthcare. They can be used in pharma. Actually, they are being used in pharma already. So these are two examples. One that I'm more familiar with because it's from the decentralized science space, in which we, the ResearchHub Foundation, operate. The other one a little less, but these are two different examples. So in the first one, HCS Pharma, okay, is basically raising some money, some euros, okay, 7 million euros, using crypto tokens. So do you remember what I was talking about at the beginning when I was making the distinction between security tokens and utility tokens? Well, the first one that I'm listing here, the HCS Pharma, is a security token because they are effectively raising money for their pharma company using tokens. So this is a token that is considered a security because it's an investment contract in their company, so that most probably the token will do well if the company does well. That's basically the definition of a security token. Another case is the one in VitaDAO. So Pfizer invested 500K in VitaDAO for their longevity project. So VitaDAO is a decentralized autonomous organization that has as a name, as a goal, that of accelerating our progress in the longevity space. And so in this case, Pfizer invested basically buying tokens, but this was not really a raise. Okay, this is basically an investment to get a stack of their tokens, because now with the token of VitaDAO, they can participate in governance. And so this is a utility that the VitaDAO token has, where the VitaDAO community puts out proposals, and individuals as well as entities, in this case, for example, Pfizer, could ideally, vote in governance proposals and steer the direction of the project with their tokens. And so the case study that I'm bringing here today, is a different one. It's that of Molecule. Molecule is tied to VitaDAO. I will explain a bit later how, but I want to talk about Molecule protocol because it's really particularly related to the pharma space. So what Molecule is basically targeting, the problem that Molecule is targeting, is that the majority of early stage therapeutic research labs lack funding and access. And so there's funders basically that have this struggle to discover and engage with projects. And on another side, there's a IP, intellectual property, that is an asset, but it's a highly illiquid asset. And it doesn't really allows for collaboration. It's normally used to restrict collaboration. Okay, so what Molecule has created is basically an open marketplace that makes the discoveries of novel therapeutics easier. Okay, and also makes it open to the public to fund these therapeutics on their platform. Okay, and another thing that they do is that they distribute ownership to the so-called patient collectives. So let's say, for example, you could imagine this picture, a new insulin treatment that is being funded and governed by a population of diabetic people. What's best than the people that are suffering from a disease being able to directly fund some therapeutics that could make their life better, but also govern the direction of the project that is trying to make that possible. Okay, so Molecule basically provides this. There's a Web3 marketplace where basically they are leveraging a specific, legal framework that is called the IP NFTs that basically ties IP to NFTs. Okay, so IP is wrapped. So there's a IP that is wrapped in an NFT, and the NFT can be traded in a similar way as you do with tokens in DeFi. So you could trade these NFTs on automated market makers. These NFTs could be held by and governed by, could be held and governed by decentralized autonomous organization, as is the case for VitaDAO that I mentioned before. So basically, this is a new technology, a new tech stack that allows this decentralization of IP to happen. Okay, and this is already happening. It's out there. I highly recommend you to go check out Molecule. You'll probably do it after hearing this talk. But it's really innovative what they're doing. Really, and I'm a big fan of what they are doing because they're really innovating in the space and the intersection of tokens and healthcare and pharma. Okay, so let's get a bit into what is IP. What is an IP NFT? So there's a picture here of IP NFTs. This is all taken from the Molecule website. Okay, so IP NFTs. There's a technical description here on the screen that you can see. So I'm not gonna go into the details of it. You can read the slide and you can see what is happening from a technical perspective. But basically, it's a new NFT standard. Okay, so the IP NFT is a new NFT standard that has been developed by Molecule that basically enables a new generation of IP to be created. So basically, this new IP, the biopharma IP that is being created through this new standard, can now be fractionalized because you can fractionalize NFTs. Okay, and it can be transacted way faster than traditional IP. Think about holding an IP. A patent. Okay, you don't really hold something that you can go to somewhere else tomorrow and be like, hey, do you want to buy my IP? There's gonna be a bureaucratic process behind it. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take fees, and it's just not an easy process to carry out. But with IP NFTs, you can now fractionalize the NFT, and so it's not the case that you only have to sell this to one person. You could sell the NFT to an entity, and you can transfer the NFT in a way easier way, a faster way, in a frictionless way. And also IP could ideally be collateralized. So think about an IP as an asset. You can then collateralize this asset to be used, for example, in financial system to raise capital. So now I have this IP that I have as an asset, and I can raise money against it. As long as my IP, the underlying IP is holding, okay, is value. So this new type of IP NFT basically consists of two contracts. There's a legal contract, okay, this is traditional IP contract, but now there's also a smart contract. There is the one on the Web3 layer on the blockchain infrastructure that ties the two together and makes it easy to transfer this IP, even though there's still the legal implications of intellectual property. But now this is wrapped in a token that is way easier to be transferred around. Okay, so I talked about IP NFTs. There are a certain type of tokens, but do you remember at the beginning when I was telling you the difference between NFTs and other tokens is that NFTs are non-fungible, so they cannot be exchanged one with another. Okay, so now you have created a new therapeutic agent. Okay, you want to patent this. Now you have the NFT that protects your intellectual property on that therapeutics. But now let's say that you want to distribute a fraction of this NFT to other people. How will you do it? You cannot distribute the NFT because there's only one of it. It's non-fungible. You cannot create copies of the same NFT. There's only one IP. What you can do is that you can create tokens, okay, that you can mint only if you have the NFT. So now you have one underlying NFTs that can create some sub-licenses, okay, of the NFT itself via tokens. Okay, so IP NFTs are already an experimental reality. So VitaDAO that I was talking about today has recently introduced the VitaFast. VitaFast is an IPT which basically confirms governance over the IP NFT that has been, originally funded by a research lab in a university. Okay, so only the people that have IP tokens can govern the research being carried out based on the IP, that is wrapped in the IP NFT. Okay, so IP NFT. Think about the IP NFT as a project, and think about the IP tokens as a governance access to that project. Okay, so you need to be so if you want to be part of it, you need to hold the NFT, but also hold the tokens that allow you to steer the direction of the project if you want to have a say in how the project is being carried out. So these are really cutting edge experiment with tokens and healthcare. So I highly recommend you to check out Molecule, check out their blog posts. There's a lot of information available on their website, and feel free to reach out to me if there's anything that you have unclear, or even reach out to the team. They're really responsive. But there's a lot that you can read there. I didn't want to get into the the nitty-gritty details of it because it will take some time to do so. And so I wanted to keep it short for you today, but informative in a way that what you can do already in the healthcare and pharma space with tokens and with NFTs. Okay, so IPTs basically turn biotech intellectual property into a composable digital asset, where now you have an underlying asset that is the NFT, but also the individual elements of the asset that are the tokens that can be distributed to many people at the same time. Okay, and IPTs are really IP governance tokens. As I was telling you at the beginning, a token can have different utilities. It can be used to access specific things, but one of the main driver for the tokens being created is that of governance. You now have a say in the governance process. So whenever the research lab puts out a proposal, okay, what do we do as the next experiment? And maybe you're an expert in the field and you hold the tokens, you can inform their decision and be like, hey, I have this many tokens and I think you should do this next because of this and this ideas that I have. And many other people can do so. And obviously you want to hold the token if you care about the research being carried out. And so that's why I think it's a really beautiful way to align the incentives in between people that want to hold the tokens and people that are interested in the research being carried out, interested in the pharma aspect of the project. So there's many biotech organizations being created nowadays. So they're called BioDAOs. They're basically DAOs that are organized around a specific biotech discipline. So for example, VitaDAO is organized around longevity. There's Air DAO that is a DAO that wants to fight hair loss. There's a lot of different BioDAOs. Check them out. There you can access it easily from the Molecule website, and you can see already some examples of how tokens are being used in the healthcare and pharma space. Okay, so this was all for today. I want to conclude by recapping the few takeaways that you should have from today's webinar. First of all, I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's really exciting what is being done, what is being currently done in the space of pharma, of healthcare, with token and NFTs. And I hope I gave you a little, an insight into something that is still a niche of the Web3 space, because there's not a lot of projects that are working in healthcare and science, but it's definitely a niche that is growing and a really interesting one. I hope that got you really interested, and you'll be checking out all of the blog posts of Molecule and and the biotech space that I've just talked about. So what are the takeaways from today? The takeaways are these 6 points that are listed. Tokens, remember, do not create value. They can only capture it. If you want to create a token, always remember that the value will come from your business model, will come from your project, from the specific value proposition that you are putting out for the users, for the public. Okay, so tokens are a way for you to capture some of that value. So when designing your tokenized ecosystem, be extremely careful in how do you model supply and demand. I've seen countless projects only thinking about supply. Yeah, let's put out, you know, 1 million token, 1 billion tokens. Let's give the tokens to the team, to the community, and then not really taking enough care in modeling the demand and what was the end result. No one wanted to buy the token, because if you don't have a demand driver, then people will see your token but be like, hey, thank you, I'm not interested. Okay, because why would I need to buy the token? So always be careful in how do you model supply and demand. It's a two-side equation, not only on a one-side one. And as I said at the beginning, there's tools that you can use to model it, and you can see it on a graph, and you can see if you're being sustainable or not. So sustainability, key element if you want to have a long-term project, if you want success for your project. If you wanna put together a get rich quick scheme that I highly recommend you not to do, because it's not a great thing to do. You could think about really short-term success, but that does not rely on sustainability. What we want to build here with tokens in the pharma and healthcare space is a project that is sustainable. They have some core principles that are integer and that really show the value that we're bringing on the table, and the way that we're capturing that value with tokens. But think about sustainability. Think about the token, how the token is being exchanged within your ecosystem. Okay, and another element is that tokens can be used, as I showed you plenty today, can be used as a medium of governance, so people can earn or buy tokens, and then use the tokens to steer decisions of protocols, of projects, and this is a really good way to align incentives between a group of people. So as I said, there's already a few examples of tokens being used in the healthcare space. I made the example of VitaDAO. They have their Vita token. I have made the example of AirDAO. They have their Air token. And if you go check out ResearchHub.com, ResearchHub.foundation, you will see a list on our website of all of the projects that have that provide funding through their tokens. Okay, so please check out also ResearchHub, and you will see we have a token as well. But I want to point you to the page of our website where we'll list the tokens that are used in the biotech space for basically controlling these projects. And so lastly, Molecule Protocol is without any doubt the leading is the leading project in the pharma space, and use these specific tech elements that I listed today, that I talked about today, that are IP NFTs and IPT, so IP tokens. Okay, and so using these two concepts, they are really pushing the boundaries of what is possible to do when you put together healthcare and biotech and pharma, and the innovation that is being brought forward by Web3 and blockchain technology. Again, I really hope that you enjoyed today's talk. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Check out all of the projects that I listed today, and let me know if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to get back to you and help you with the continuation of your program.
Thank you so much for the video. Next, we have Sanofer Hyderali UX designer, XR prototyper, to give us insights about spatial experience with context-aware dynamic introduction.
And also, if I may jump in, for everyone that may be wondering what was tokenomics, so basically tokenomics is what sustained the Web3 space. And the reason why I'm so grateful to have Riccardo from Tokenomics DAO to give a presentation is give you an insight on what is tokenomics. But also you might remember that I think in week 2, I did a session on Token testnet where you can create your own DAO. That's an example to get experience to create your own DAO, and potentially maybe in 5 years' time when you're still working on it, get funding from different pharmaceutical company to help launch your DAO. And also he emphasized about token. Through Token testnet, you can launch your own token as well. which I think I call Meta Pharmacy Token as an example, which is on week 2, I think. And also another very important topic is when you submit your pitch deck for us next week, so similarly, you can use Koby's presentation as inspiration. It's really, really important, a big emphasis for all the hackathon participants to have a slide on tokenomics. You might remember when Riccardo was talking, he had like a circle and said distribution for funding, community. I need people to have a slide like this using your own token and your own DAO as part of token. Then it's going to help you force your mind to think how could be the cycle of distribution and so on. So 3 key points: create your DAO token through token testnet, and the tokenomics slide in your submission of your pitch deck. So for example, it could be, you mentioned about IP, NFT, IP token. This will be pharmacy, NFT, pharmacy token. And your DAO can be the name of your team, right? Or the name of a specific condition like diabetes DAO, asthma DAO, or your team name DAO. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can continue the presentation, sorry.
So next we have Sanofer Hyderali, who is the UX designer, XR prototyper, to give us insights about the spatial experience with context-aware dynamic introduction.
Are we sharing the screen? You're playing the recording? So hi, Sanofer, it's very nice to meet you. First of all, I want to give you a heartfelt thank you for providing your time and support for the pharmacy student in India. And that's a conversation following that, your amazing video on LinkedIn about the fridge special experience notification. But without further delay, please introduce yourself to the student and then you can delve into the topic.
Video screen is not
Thanks
visible.
for inviting me to this talk. Yeah. So I'm Sanofer. I'm an XR UX designer and prototyper from London. So basically,
It's yet not visible. Your
experience for future.
Hello, is it visible now?
yes, play the video.
So hi, Sanofer, it's very nice to meet you. First of all, I want to give you a heartfelt thank
Is
you
it audible?
for providing your time and support for the pharmacy student in India. And that's a conversation following that, your amazing video on LinkedIn about the fridge special experience notification. But without further delay, please introduce yourself to the student and then you can delve into the topic.
Thanks, Arun, for inviting me for this talk. And yeah. So I'm Sanofer. I'm an XR UX designer and prototyper from London. So basically, I used to design the user interfaces and user experiences for future devices like mixed reality headsets and also like phones, AR for the smartphone-based AR experience as well. So basically, that's what about me.
Great.
So yeah. So basically, I just want to give an introduction about the project, actually.
Sure.
So this project is about, like you said, it was not about like the future fridge scenario. It was about like, notifications, how the notifications could happen in the future. So basically, like if you check the current notifications in your smartphone, in your laptop, in your PC, or from even from your fridge oven, like there is some kind of visual or audio cues, right? Like coming from on top of your screen, or else like you can hear from sound, some sound from your laptop or from the oven, like that. So how the notifications will be happening in the future when the actual spatial computing is there? So that was the exploration which we did. So as part of it, we took the scenario in kitchen. So which is like very much, it's likely to happen in everyday life of any user. So thing is like, you might have seen, if you are into this field of mixed reality and virtual reality, you might have seen the hyper reality kind of videos, like where you can see a lot of like notifications and UIs around you, which you can see in the Black Mirror episodes. So we don't want our world or our view to be like that. So instead, like how we can intelligently and efficiently design notifications, and how the user ourselves can communicate with our surroundings more efficiently and effectively. So that's the idea behind this project actually. So we started with the small topic notification. So I'll just play the video here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
So here, you might have seen the visual cue from the spatial notification from the fridge. So actually, that idea behind it was like, the system. When I say system, the headset and the spatial computer itself will get to know the status of the user and will like act intelligently, whether it's a good time to show the notification to the user or not. If it's completely understand, okay, this is the perfect time to show this particular notification, it will just show. It could be just the carousel case kind of waves. It could be an audio cue. It could be visual cue. It could be anything. So here, when I say the condition, a perfect condition for the notification, what I meant is space and time. When I say space, it's about like whether the user is near to that particular object, near enough to that particular object. And also if the user is like in a good situation where the notification can be seen. In the sense, like if the user is rushing towards something else, if suppose like, for example, if the user is going to attend a door, at that time, this notification can't be shown, right? Because it's not a proper appropriate time, right? So the system should understand what is the actual proper time, appropriate time for this notification, then it should show to the user. So what we thought is like, this is a kind of like the user is around the kitchen. He might be returning from the gardening, and while he enters the house, he might be approaching the fridge, or he might be approaching the oven to take the food from the oven. So it's a scenario like that. It's very very calm scenario. At that time when he enters the kitchen, he receives this kind of notification. Sorry. Yeah, this kind of waves. Yeah, the notification now grab the user's attention. Then the user walk towards. So here is the dynamicity of UI which we are speaking about, like dynamically changing UI. So this could you can witness this kind of dynamic UI in your phone as well. Like when you take the phone, like the phone can understand the phone, like you have to take the phone, right? So it can like give you some notifications, or it can give you some alert accordingly. So here, the same manner, when the user approached the notification, the UI could change and reveal more information about the notification. So here it's about like, the notifications about, hi Amshi, a few items in your fridge need attention. It's about like, yeah, the fridge wants to tell you something. And what was it? Yeah, few items in your fridge. Okay, it's about the items in the fridge. It's not about the fridge itself. And when he approached again, it will reveal more information. What are the things into the fridge which needs attention? And what he can do is like, he can go through it, the list, and he can take the further actions. So yeah, obviously the questions will arise. Why he should stop in front of the fridge and go through the user interface? Why can't he just open the fridge? And obviously we can do that. Yeah, as I said, this is just a prototype. This is the first exploration, and with the further iterations, we'll be doing like that. And the actual user, the computing, HCA, human computer interaction, shouldn't disturb the normal user flow. So that's the thought actually. So when the user approaches the fridge, the user should be able to open the fridge. Then he should be able to see the products which is going to expire or already expired. For that, we need more technology, which is our current devices are not capable of, like depth perception, computer vision technologies, all those stuffs. So for that, like if technology is available, obviously we'll be doing like that. So obviously we can do the mock-up as well. So we'll be trying to do that kind of use cases and scenarios in the future. So that's about my project actually. So it's about like understanding the user's position with the respect to the notification, the space, and act accordingly. Hope it helps.
Yes, definitely. It's very insightful. And just as a follow-up question to what you've described. So let's say the pharmacy student that be watching this recording this Sunday said, wow, I really want to specialize in spatial experience design. And where do I get started? So what would you recommend to someone that has no coding experience, no user design experience, that wants to learn to be part of this future of spatial experience with the Apple Vision Pro, with the MetaQuest Pro, and also shout out to Ajna Lens, which is a XR headset manufacturer in India. What would be your recommendation for those students that might be pharmacists, but they may have a creative skill set in user design, spatial design, and so on?
Yeah, definitely I could answer that. So there are two different perspectives we could look into. So it's like about creating the actual product prototypes, or else like, creating the mockups with the tools like Shapes XR and Bezel. So there are tools available in the market right now, which you could like jump into it and create the spatial experience, clickable prototypes without any coding knowledge. So those are the tools which you can try if you really want to explore the possibilities in spatial computing and the future technologies like Apple Vision Pro. Bezel is like something which is like, emerging, like they're having good progress. That's what I have seen from past few months. Like they have introduced a lot of interactions, like clickables, like animations, all those stuffs. So Bezel is something which you can definitely try. And Shapes XR is something else, like, you could say Figma for 3D design, where you could like, collaborate with your friends or colleagues in the same space, and you can do the brainstorm and body storm, and like, you can create the scenarios and you can discuss in that space, in the VR space itself. So these are two tools which you can explore in the beginning without any coding experience. And yeah, if you want to like create an experience by yourself, obviously you have to jump into game engines like Unity or Unreal, which, it's like, it will take some time to master that coding, programming, all those stuffs. But if you're really interested, definitely you can consider that as well. One of my like friend, he's into paramedics, and he used to like develop, like he's very much interested in this VR technology, and he used to develop VR applications for medical, uh, training, all those stuff. So yeah, it could happen that way as well.
Amazing. And just one more question before we kind of finish it off, because I'm very respectful of your time. So you mentioned about Shape XR being almost the 3D version for Figma. My question to you will be, so let's just say that the participant submit a scene, which should be either through 8XR and Ozone, and then they also have a presentation to make as part of the submission of the hackathon. What would be, in your opinion, the best way for the pharmacy student to portray what you've described in terms of special experience notification? Do you think they should include some kind of images or notification between the pharmacy scene and say in their presentation, that'll be an example similar to what Sanofer explained? Or do you think they skip through straight away to the presentation and talk about it? In your opinion, what would be the best way for them to be in the trenches, as in by the end of the hackathon, they should have explored the usage of special design? Or do you think it might be best for them to actually go to Shape XR, do something with it, and then put this in a pitch deck or including in the project submission, in your opinion?
Yeah, so regarding that, the best way, which I would say is like if you have any scenario, like any idea, any concept, the first thing you have to take is pen and paper, nothing else. Take it, write it down. Like I'm sure like every one of us like movies, right? Like how the movies are written, storyboarding, scripting, like that. So just write it like step by step. What is the first scene, second scene, third scene, what it should be, and like visualize in your head multiple times. After like having a clear vision, just jump into ShapeSexer. It'll be much more easier for you. But for ShapeSexer, there's little bit learning curve where you have to import the 3D models. You have to like create 3D stuff. It's very simple actually. Uh, Nothing to worry about. It's very simple. But yeah, if you're having clear vision in your head, it'll be very easy for you to create the 3D visuals and 3D scenes and the ShapeSexer. And like from there itself, you can take the images, screenshots, and you can use it in your presentations. Like it will be really good, very much time saving to convey your spatial idea. That's
So
what I
like,
think.
thank you. So basically in the medical field, doctors use the acronym Socrates, which is basically something they use for medical consultation with the patient to say, what are the symptoms, how long have they had it for? So it kind of prompting the doctor and then pharmacist to navigate the conversation through that framework, so they're able to get the best, I guess, idea from it. So like you mentioned about getting a pen and paper, since you've been in this field for like many years, my question to you is there some kind of industry level framework where they ask 4 simple questions saying, what is the idea? What's the user experience like? How long will it take to go from position A to B? Is there like a standardized set of questions to enable someone with little knowledge to kind of really portray the idea from their head into paper effectively, similar to Dr. with Socrates and pharmacists like WAM as well? Is there something similar for the user design world?
Actually, I didn't get the question properly. So you were asking like, is there any process to bring the idea from your head to the actual presentation? That's what you're asking, right? Like from
Yes.
pen and paper to ShapeSexer to presentation. Is there any process, right?
Like a blueprint for like basically when there's an idea. For example, when I teach dance, I won't go straight into it. What I would say is that's the basics of the dance style. That's what you do. And from there on, you make your own formula instead of doing just dance. So I'm giving them like a bit of element. You had take the element to create a dance choreography out of it. Is there something similar, like a set of question or blueprint for them to pick and choose to enable them to navigate their massive creativity into being laser focused?
So to answer that, there is no how to do. There is a lot of what to do. You know, like if you take the Apple Vision Pro latest design guidelines, and if you go to Meta, if you go to Google, like there are a lot of design guidelines for AR and mixed reality and VR. So they are all explaining about what to do, and how to do is up to you. Like it's your convenience. So there are a lot of companies, like even like in my previous company, what we did is like, kind of body storming is something like you might be very much familiar with the brainstorming. the term which is like new coined recently is like body storming, which you yourself is acting in the space, how the UI will be behaving to you. So that kind of thing which you can try by yourself. It's not like standardized. It's still under development. Like this technology is under development, and the process to design for this technology is still under development. So yeah, there's nothing much defined, but you can try by yourself with a lot of experiments, like enacting yourself like in the space which you are, and coming up with the solutions. That's the best way. And Shapes XR is something which you can completely rely upon. Multiple people can jump into the same space and act like a doctor, act like a patient. Like, they can sit on a table, on a chair, and another person can walk towards, and they can see, okay, if I'm approaching here, this kind of notification would appear. If I'm sitting over here, this kind of notification appear on my left side or my right side or above my chest. So if something related to my eyes, so it should appear somewhere here. So this kind of brainstorming in addition could happen in Shapes XR. Like, why? Because multiple people can jump into the space in VR. Obviously, some VR headset should be there. So yeah, it could happen in that way. There is no much a path or any structure already defined. It's up to you. Like, you can define by yourself.
So I'm the kind of person that really like to learn something and put in very like structured place. So if I was to, from this conversation I had from you, a general guideline from the student, if they want to have a structured flow of tasks, would be come up with an idea, number one. Number two, do body storming into Shape XR. And then three, from there on, get feedback from people in their team to see where the positioning of the notification should be in. And number four is basically just record the whole scene to kind of explain over 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, this person goes hey, 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 hey. So there's like a step approach. Number one, idea. 2, body storming. 3, get feedback, and 4, record it.
Yeah, that could be the one initial method. Like, and you can detail it out and further. Like, there are so many design guidelines, all those stuff we have to consider. But yeah, to convey your ideas initially, this is much more enough, I think.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Sanofer, for your time. It really means a lot. And if the student wanted to contact you post hackathon for any product they may have, or just clarity from something, what would be the best way for them to contact you? Would it be through LinkedIn or by email or Twitter?
LinkedIn is perfect. LinkedIn is perfect. Like, I'll be available.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Happy to help or happy to collaborate and happy to connect. Always welcome. Thank you.
On behalf of IPSF, we would like to give a heartfelt thank you for your time and support.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Maybe we can move on to the next video. So yeah, just to emphasize, basically, from this video, he was the person that told me about Shape XR and Bezel. I didn't have a clue about those two. And he kindly agreed, explained to me the structure. And it's thanks to him that I contacted Bezel, and Julian Park agreed to do a presentation. But yeah, that's spatial design is a very new topic, and I've included links in the Discord channel. But yeah, you can go to the next video.
So now we have Julian Park, the CEO of Bezel, to give us information about spatial experience with body storming.
So thank you so much, Julian, for your time. And also for the opportunity to have the pharmacy student to use your platform to kind of create some new innovation in terms of special experience for pharmacy consultation. And so thank you so much for seeing me at such short notice. And yes, this is just a conversation to kind of thank you so much for sharing me the video, which I'll be showing this Sunday as well. But just to kind of get started, potentially maybe give an intro about yourself. What is the vision behind Bezel? and then maybe you could say some of the like good tip for someone with zero knowledge on Figma and product design could get started after watching the video, but then in terms of brainstorming, body storming, like somewhat like a step-by-step approach in terms of reconfirming their mind to create new ways of interaction between patient and pharmacist.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me today. I'm Julian, co-founder and CEO of Bezel, which is a collaborative spatial design tool. And a lot of designers these days are wondering, how do I go from the usual 2D screens that we're very familiar with, like your computer and your phone screens, to a more immersive 3D experience, whether that's through like an AR or VR device. And I think, especially with Apple's recent Vision Pro announcement, I think there's a lot more interest these days about how we can apply certain concepts, like in pharmacy, for example, to a whole new world of immersive experiences, and how that can really be beneficial for the patients and for the industry overall. I've experienced the pains of trying to build something like that, something like an immersive experience that we're talking about at Oculus previously. So for context, I worked at Oculus for about 4 years or so before starting Bezel, and led a lot of the engineering efforts to build out the OS that goes inside the Quest headsets, so the Quest 1, 2, Pro, and so on. And during that time, I worked a lot with designers. And designers would use tools like Figma to iterate on the app UI and how the app would be in front of the user. But whenever they would bring these designs to meetings, managers would ask, like, hey, how do I view this thing in headset? Because, what's in front of me is obviously in 2D, in a 2D canvas, but the OS is in 3D. So inherently, the user will need to experience and interact with these apps in 3D and be inside this immersive space. But there is really no way to do that. And whenever someone would ask this question, the designer would say something like, well, we could, but we would have to partner with a Unity developer to build out a whole interactive 3D prototype and C# script it sometimes and export the package to different headsets. And this is also during COVID, so people had to remote install application packages across headsets. It was just a multi-week process. So I took a step back, and then I asked the lead prototyper at Oculus back then. I was like, "Hey, is there an easier way to do this?" And he's like, "No, this is just how the industry works." So we then realized that there's so much of an opportunity out there for more and more people, just, even beyond the AR VR space, whether they're building a game or whether they're in the architecture or interior design fields, to be able to easily design and prototype a spatial design together. And we built Bezel. Long story short, we now take that complex multi-week process to a couple minutes, because it is a simple website that you go to, bezel.it, bezel.it, and you're able to just create a free account, open a file. You can either create assets like UIs or 3D models inside Bezel, or drag them in from other tools like Figma or Blender. And now you're able to quickly prototype a 3D space with others if you want to as well. So you can also invite other teammates, at your hackathon by just sharing out the Bezel file link in the browser with other people. And they'll be able to now join your file and then be able to collaborate in a space and a pharmaceutical experience that is very unique to this experience, this metaverse that you're talking about. So yeah, it's exciting times. I would love to see what kind of projects you build. And we have a bunch of resources in our website as well. So make sure to check those out on our website. We have documentation and a lot more tutorial videos on YouTube as well. And yeah, hope that's all helpful in your journey to become more of a spatial designer.
Well, thank you so much. When you said the amount of work you put in, especially for Oculus, just blew my mind, because it just shows that, unfortunately, basically the hackathon is meant to be for pharmacy students across the world globe, right? I don't mind being this recorded. I've literally tagged all the pharmacy organization for students across in my Twitter, in my Instagram, saying this is an open competition. Please do come and support to be part of the future. And nobody responded. It's literally just India pharmacy student that's like taking the lead. And then you have heavyweight like you that's coming and supported like positivity and support. I just can't wait to see the amount of the quality of the submission, and for sure, like from the way you describe it, you can start like correct me if I'm wrong. So if I understood correctly, from using the Bezel platform, pharmacy student can then create a shareable link which they can then share to the judges afterward. Is that correct? And then they also can navigate through the Bezel special experience during the presentation, saying, okay, hi Arun, I won't be one of the judge, actually be like four other judges from different countries, but they be saying, okay, Arun, that's how you've been navigating the special experience.
Hello. Is there any technical issue from Arun sir end, or anyone can confirm? Aditi?
It's not from our end.
It's fine, right, from our end? Okay. So till Arun sir going to join, hope everyone is able to understand the talk, what is happening. And first of all, I would like to thank each and every member for staying till this last minute. Yeah, see, we have made a playlist in the YouTube channel as IPS of Metaverse.
So yeah, we can
Yes,
definitely
we
share
did
the
that.
recording.
Yeah. So you
And
can continue.
then the last one is Hardik's presentation, and then we can close off.
Okay.
From Florida.
So Julian Park has left the call, sir.
No. It was a recorded session, so the video got paused. So normally it should have played. I mean, we could try to play it again, but it was a recorded session.
Okay, there might be some tech. No, I'm asking about Julian Park from Bezel, who have joined through Google Meet. Hello.
So basically, when I spoke to Julian, it was a recorded session, and I don't think there was a problem technical with that. But I mean, we can always share the recording afterward. But in a nutshell, now we can, if you want, we can move on to the next video, which is Hardik's video from Flow India.
Sure. Okay.
And I shared the link in the Zoom chat as well. I don't know what's happened there, but yeah.
Akshat is there. Sayantika, you can play that video. I think Akshat is not there, right?
Hello, Bhaiya. I think Akshat is facing some net issues. He will be joining.
Yeah, no worries. In the meantime, already we got the link. You can just play it, okay? The last video, I guess. It would be very short if I would.
Okay, Bhaiya.
Actually, the content is very long and very standard content we are getting in, right? Is there anyone sharing? Miss Sayantika? I think Akshat has net issues, right? So some other person can share it. It would be very short video if I'm not wrong. Okay.
Yes, Bhaiya. Yes,
Once
Bhaiya.
try.
It is sharing.
Yeah. So all the members, I think, hope you
Hello.
people are
Sorry,
getting
actually, there.
questions. Yeah, you can share in the meantime. So hope you all are understanding what is the Metaverse Hackathon and how. And if your team, like if, for example, if you are from Hyderabad or if you are from Pune or Maharashtra or Delhi, so if you people are really interested, I want to experience it. Okay. So we got Movella opportunity where they have in Bangalore Movella. So you might see Avatar movies or 3D animated movies, right? So where these particular sensors will be kept on the where these particular sensors will be kept on the body, and as we move it, it will be recorded into a scene. Okay, 2D or 3D scene. So such opportunity we as a pharmacy students getting from Movella. So if any of your participants are ready, just text us or just mail us or post your interest in the Discord. We will take it up and we'll send your details to Movella. And one day in this 1 week, okay, after this 1 week we will also not encourage it, because as we are doing, we want to do it in this 1 week. So if you people are interested to move to Movella store, I mean Movella unit, let us know. We'll take the permission by hand for you, so you can get into there with your team. You can experience that particular scenes, and also you can utilize it for your project. Okay, already one team, I think Miss Vishnupriya, Vedavati, who are there, they are going to Movella, Bangalore. So if other teams are also interested to go, just let us know. We can plan it out, and you can use such great opportunity, and you will also get some good experience as well. Okay. Yeah. So Akshat, are you ready? Yes.
Yes, Bhaiya.
Okay. You
Should
can
I start?
Yes,
Okay.
you can start. One second. Harun sir, can we play this video? We can go to the next one.
I think we
What
should
is it?
play the video because
Okay.
Julian has kindly agreed, and he's a big supporter. He's very active on Discord saying, "I'll come."
Great. Okay. Yeah,
So
then
big
definitely we'll play it. Yeah. Akshat, please play it.
file link, opening that link in the browser, and then entering immersive mode. So what you end up having is just this simple link, just say www.bezel.it/file link, that you can now share not only with your teammates to edit together, but also publish it into a prototype that you can share with your judges, so that the judges can easily review and assess the work via one web link.
Wow.
And so that is the power of the web, that is the power of the browser, and all the immersive web technologies that are coming out these days. So I'm so excited for the pharmaceutical students to also check this out.
Amazing. And just to follow up, so your recommendation to the whole pharmacy participant for the hackathon is step 1, watch the video you shared with me, which I'll be definitely playing on Sunday. And number 2, once they watch that video and actually kind of give you a step-by-step approach on how to use the platform, because I still haven't seen the video yet, I'm just going by what you can say to me. Am I correct to say that during the special design exercise, it can include different texts of their own choosing? Is that correct?
Yeah.
And
so they can add different texts and different models and different images and all that.
So in a nutshell, they could potentially create, I don't know if you're familiar with the platform called Scenario.
I may have heard of it.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, Scenario can enable anyone to create images with a single prompt, but then with the prompt, they kind of choose different generator. And what I've suggested from week 1 is to enable them to create asset of body organ, so that they can create, like, for example, the heart, the lung, the brain. So in a nutshell, they could add those 2D image from Scenario directly into the Bezel scene, so that, for example, I'm just thinking out loud, it could be in a sense that it says heart rate, like 120/70, and then there's like a art image of their choosing. So they're tweaking the environment based on their creativity. Is that correct?
Yeah. So you could easily design a heartbeat monitoring machine that is not only in 2D but can present more information in 3D for pharmacists and for the patients to also see that in a more immersive way, and maybe look into how their body organs in that case would be shaped different. If they come out of different 3D scanned cameras.
And is the platform, I do apologize if that's not widely known information, but is Bezel compatible with GLB file?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So you can just drag and drop GLB files into the Bezel canvas, like the editor, and it will automatically sort of take all that information into it.
Perfect. Well,
yeah, GLB, FBX, OBJ, and so on.
And in terms of audio, so like for example, I'm just thinking out loud again, just to kind of make the whole spatial designing experience very unique for the pharmacy student, because that's completely new to them, because they are basically pharmacy student conditioned to think clinically. So anything in terms of spatial experience, creativity, blue sky thinking is always not really, I guess, promoting in university, which is the whole purpose of the hackathon. So in terms of that, is it possible, for example, for them to add voice, like recorded voice into the scene, so that you can say, welcome to the first meta consultation, and you can pick and choose some of the art. So basically they are kind of narrating the whole scene using a pre-recorded voice. Can they do that, or is it not possible to add audio file yet?
Yeah, we don't have a voice narration or an audio capability today, but you can always add text to narrate the experience. I've seen people do that. I've also seen people create more meditative spaces for meditation purposes that calm the mind. And they would sort of have different portals of different 3D worlds that the patient can enter into a forest or a different like mountain or river scene, and then be able to relax on the beach by just going into these different spaces inside XR. And I agree that having audio would be a bit more immersive in those scenes, but yeah, we'll definitely add audio as well.
Definitely. I mean, like the way I look at it is definitely the first step towards spatial design. And I'm being mindful of the time you're providing. So for this, thank you so much. But just to finish up, what will be like some of the recommendations for any pharmacy student that, like say for the hackathon, like I said, alongside again, they have to provide a submission pitch deck, a metaverse scene, and as part of the submission of the hackathon, they must provide a Bezel special experience scene. Do you have any recommendation in case a pharmacy student wants to maybe develop further the skill set of using a platform? Would you advise them, for example, to learn more about Figma, or is like any additional resources in terms of theory and the books you can really help them expand their creativity to really kind of become tomorrow's leaders of spatial design for pharmacy in the metaverse, or meta pharmacy, the theme of the hackathon?
Yeah, I think, I don't have a lot of professional knowledge in pharmacy for me to give probably any super helpful advice. But I think the one general thing I can say is that with any industry, computing changes the way the industry works, right? So pretty much in any industry, if you think about the impact of computers or even phones, or even going all the way back to the internet, having these machines in these spaces and the types of experiences and connections it offers between the pharmacist and the student or the patient really changes or improves the overall quality of the experiences. So I think in a similar way as computing has went from personal computing many decades ago to mobile computing like the iPhone to now spatial computing, I think I would encourage people to think about, okay, now that we have the freedom to interact with the world around us in 3D and not be confined to a small rectangular screen, what are the different patient experiences? What are the different pharmacy experiences that we can now create and design? And I think there are a lot of interesting questions there that I, personally, I'm not a huge expert on, but I can, I'm pretty confident that folks at the hackathon will be able to think through a lot of different scenarios around just going from the end-to-end user flow, if you will, of the patient, and thinking through how could we provide the best possible experience for this person, and thinking through, okay, maybe in that part, this person can better visualize in 3D what types of medicine they would need to work with, or stuff like that. So I think there are a lot of exciting options there.
Well, thank you so much, Julian. And just to finish, I'll just say, on behalf of the IPSF, thank you so much for providing your time, mentorship, even now, and also your amazing platform for them to kind of like become leader in special design for maybe not just pharmacy, but just in general, the health industry. So for this, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that would is really great. Once again, I would like to thank Mr. Julian Park from Bezel for his time and for his talk. Yeah, we can move on. Next video. Mr. Akshat, you can play next one. And Sayantika, you can carry. Are you there, Sayantika?
Yes, Bhaiya.
You can say about the next video. I mean, the speaker who is going to speak on this. You have the details.
Next we welcome Hardik Sharma, who will explain us about the flow of blockchain to support the meta pharmacy.
Welcome everyone. I hope you all are doing great. So today we are going to look around like how to build on flow. So before starting, like little about me. I'm Hardik, you can call me DC. I'm taking care of Flow Dev community in India. I'm a Cadence smart contract developer and leading Flow India team. If you want to connect me, here is my Twitter handle, devcoder_. So the agenda for today's session is like we're going to learn about Flow blockchain, Cadence, account abstraction, and community and ecosystem. Before moving on to the flow, learning about the flow, we're going to learn about basic terminology regarding the Web3. So we have like the basic terminology everyone wants to understand, like what is blockchain and why use blockchain. So blockchain is a database which is open and decentralized, which means it is shared among all the participants connected to the node, and anyone can build and integrate with anything that is already existing, which make it more composable, right? So another term we have like a smart contract. So a smart contract is like a building block of your application that you are building on the blockchain. It's like a backend of your application and a piece of code which lives on chain. It runs on the Flow virtual machine. Anybody can interact with it. As you know, it's deployed on the open and decentralized database, so anybody can view, which make it more transparent. Anybody can use your contract, means anybody can use your contract and build things on top of it, which make it composability, which provide it more composable. Autonomous execution means you don't require any team or a third person to run the smart contract. It get automatically executed, so which provide a trustless environment. So moving forward, we have just a general term FT and NFT. So FT is like a fungible token. If we talk about in real world, we have a real cash like 2000 nodes, 500 nodes. So if I say fungible means like the thing which is replaceable, and if you replace something and its value doesn't get affected, it's called fungible token. Means if there are two person A and B, and you are sending the 2000 node to the B person and B is sending his 2000 node to the A, they are both exchanging they are replacing their 2000 node, and their 2000 node value is not affecting, right? It's same. So the thing you can easily replace without affecting its value, it's called fungible token. Then we have a non-fungible token, means non-replaceable. So you can see there are two cats like A and B. Okay, so first cat is holding by a person A and second cat is holding by a person B. So what do you think, like, are these cats are similar? No, they are not similar. It looks similar, but they are not similar. Why it's not similar? Because their value is not same. What I mean by value, so if we talk about in general, in real world term, so value is like, suppose a cat has an ID. ID is like a date of birth, his age, his health, his power, his weight. All things can might differ. So person A cat and person B cat looks similar, but their value is not same, right? So the thing you cannot replace because its value is affecting, it's called non-fungible token. Then we all have one question in our mind, and the question is like, why Flow blockchain was created when there was already Ethereum, Polygon, and Binance was into existence, and why they came up with a new architecture and with a new language. So Flow is not built randomly. There was a reason. So what happened is, Flow blockchain is the result of team called Dapper Labs, and the team that had invented ERC 721 standard and the first ever blockchain game in 2017 called as CryptoKitties. The good news is CryptoKitties went very popular, and the bad news is it broke the Ethereum network. Gas fees was so high people can't able to make transaction. Due to this, the team thought that they need a better solution for onboarding a mainstream user to the Web3 space. For that, they have looked around the ecosystem to find a better platform which they can use, but they did not able to find it because they have some criteria, and the criteria are, they need a scalable platform having gas-less fees, they don't need sharding, means no L2, needs a better programming language which can represent true ownership of the digital asset. And when the team did not able to find out a platform which matched their criteria, then they have created their own blockchain called as Flow blockchain. Flow is a L1 blockchain built for the consumer scale, and it provides easy onboarding with user safety. It's having a low cost, environmental friendly, it's highly scalable, and it's due to the multi-node architecture. So what is multi-node architecture? So today, if you know, blockchain required a node runner to run a monolithic node, and each node stores the entire state of the blockchain and performs all the work associated with it, like collection of transaction, grouping them into block, executing the transaction, reaching consensus on the state of the chain, verifying each block by other node. If we talk about in this real world, this type of approach is rarely seen. So Flow came up with a new concept called pipelining, which is used in modern CPU. It split the role of the validator node into 4 different roles: collection, consensus, execution, and verification. This allows them to increase the efficiency, transaction execute faster, and platform become highly scalable. So talking about the collection node, so the work of collection node is to collect the transaction. Work of consensus node is to maintain the order of the blockchain. Work of the execution node is, in simple terms, I would say, to execute the smart contract function. And the work of verification node is to keep the check of the execution and the consensus node. They won't create vulnerability in the chain. Moving forward, we have today Flow have like 20 million plus user account and 380 plus million transaction, and it's fully permissionless for the developers. We have a large prime sports app, NBA, La Liga, UFC, FanCraze. FanCraze is for like ICC cricket based licensing NFT, OneFootball, Olympics, Hot Wheels, and many more. In enterprise, we have Ticketmaster. So Ticketmaster is the biggest platform US and Canada for booking tickets online. In social identity, we have Doodles 2, and in gaming, we have Joyride, Anonika Brands, and etc. Moving forward, building on flow. So we all have one thing in our mind when there was already a language going on in the Web3 ecosystem, which is Solidity. So why we need a better language? So as you know, Web3 is unique. So you need something that can provide, that can provide asset, that can provide something to asset which cannot be duplicated and lost accidentally, provide safety of asset at the language level. If you are buying something, it should store in your wallet rather than on the ledger. Don't have overflow issues. You can should allow upgrading deploy contract, and language should be open source, syntax should be familiar. So these were the issue, and due to these issue, the team came up with a new language called Cadence. So Cadence is a smart contract language for Flow. It's an improvement on language called Move, which is built by the Facebook. So Cadence is a resource-oriented language, which means anything that you create as an asset on the Flow is represented as a resource and is stored in your account instead of storing the ownership of the asset in the ledger. It provides more security, and safety and security means it's fully centralized, fully decentralized, no centralized contract pool and ledger hack, no overflow issues. Language is fully open source. It's composable, like anybody can compose and use and build on top of the existing contract. And syntax are really familiar to the TypeScript, Shift, and Kotlin. So here is a bit example like Cadence, Solidity versus Cadence. So you can see like wallet 0x001 is interacting with 3 smart contract. So it's a token owner. If we look around, the token ownership is stored on the contract only. Like they are only mapping your address with the token value, right? So first account holds in first contract it's holding 45 tokens, in second 70.1, in the third 993.2 tokens. It doesn't store on your wallet, it stores on the ledger. And if we look around for the Cadence account, so Cadence account have an storage, and it stores keys, address, metadata, contracts, capabilities, and the resources that we have seen. So anything which is being created as an asset is stored in your account storage as a resource. So here is a bit glance of Cadence. So in the first red block, you can see we are creating an NFT of a resource type. In second block, you can see we are creating an NFT. For that, we are using a keyword called create, and the arrow you can see is a move operator, that we are creating that NFT and we are moving that NFT, and where we are moving that NFT. So in the third red block, you can see self.account.save. So this means that the above we have created that NFT, we are moving that NFT to the account, we are saving that NFT to the account storage. So you can see self.account.save means we are saving something in your account, and what we are saving is the NFT. So here you can see NFT @. So whenever you see something @, that means is of resource type. So here we are saving in the account, and what we are saving is the NFT that we have created here. So this is how we create asset as of resource type. We create it and move to the account storage. So resource is with a collection of data and a function, and similar to a real world object, it exists in one exact place at an exact time, cannot be copied or lost accidentally, and have to be explicitly destroyed, which means it's a perfect for a digital asset. Talking about the flow account model, so flow account model stores like contract resources and many more things. And the main part here is like it stores 3 valid domains: storage, private, and public. So whenever you're going to interact with any application on the blockchain, it's going to create a storage in your account. And public and private part, you can think of public and private domain, you can think of as like a subset of the storage, and it's like a public and private API. If you provide access to it, anybody can use your storage, and if you don't authorize anyone, so that nobody can use that storage. So this is how it look like. You have an account storage and the collection in the public and the private. In the public, you store get ID, deposit, borrow NFT, so that anybody can, if anybody want to look around what NFT you stored in your collection, so they can borrow the NFT and they can look your NFT. For deposit function, they can call it and deposit the NFT to your collection. In the private domain, we store withdraw function. So if you provide any authorization to any user, then only he can withdraw the NFT. He can run the withdraw function. If you won't provide any authorization to anyone, it's totally private, only you have access to it. Moving forward, ways to interact with the flow. So there are 2: transaction and the script. Transaction, whenever you want to change data to the blockchain or mutate data to the blockchain, you run the transaction. For that, you have to sign the transaction, and it will going to cost a little bit gas fees, which is around $0, almost $0. And script is like an API. So whenever you want to read the data from the blockchain, you run the script. You don't need to sign any transaction for the script, and it's totally free of cost. Easy way to start, I will suggest go to the play.flow.com. You can look around for the tutorials, and you can write the contract and the transaction script, and you can execute. They also have some dummy accounts there, so it's the best way to get started. Another, if you want to work locally on your desktop, install Flow CLI. You can create account, execute script transaction, send transaction to the testnet, mainnet. So go, and if you want to work on your local desktop, go and install Flow CLI. Moving forward, so we transform Web3 UX through account abstraction and flow. So we have like so as you know, the blockchain today requires yeah. So as you know, in the world of consumer blockchain, there are 2 common models for blockchain key management: user custody and the application custody. So user custody is generally considered the default and the best option for the Web3 community. User keeps their own key in their control. It gives the user absolute control of their asset, providing them full protection from any attack or failure. On the other hand, app custody provides a very natural Web2 styling onboarding experience, simple authorization, and it provides optimal UI UX. But for the new user, setting up a self-custody is confusing and create friction. Why? Because you have to install it, and as an extension, when you're going to install it, there will be a 12-digit seed phrase, and you have to accept that if you lose the seed phrase, you won't able to recover the account, and every time you sign the transaction, there you see a hexadecimal number in the message column, which is bit like friction, like what I am signing the transaction forward, you don't know. So it creates confusion and create friction for the new user. So we have a solution, and we call it as a walletless onboarding, which means you can easily sign with the help of Google and Facebook, easily check out with the help of credit card, and it provide you really familiar experience like a Web2. So, but app custody has also some cons, like digital items get locked in the app, difficult for the user to move that item because he doesn't understand about the self custody, and he can't able to move that item from the app custody also. And if the app gets shut down, the item he had bought will be completely lost. So what solution we have, so we have a solution called hybrid custody, which means like we can use best of both the worlds, app custody and the self custody. So this is where the flow has introduced account abstraction specifically, or I can say account delegation. So one blockchain account can delegate control to the another account, and the child account can be accessed using cryptographic key as per usual, but the owner of the parent account can directly access the asset of the child as well. So this connection let us create a hybrid of app custody and the self custody that provide the full benefit of both. A new user without a self custody account can sign up for the new account without having any wallet software. But when they are ready for the self custody, they can delegate control of the app custody account to the self custody account using their own keys on their own device, right? So with the help of self custody, now user can take items out to the app, no transfer is required, make it full composable, and it get a full Web3 security. Recently in February, we had an hackathon in which like 40% plus submission were using hybrid custody. Hybrid custody eliminates the app switching for the signing the transaction, leverage the payment method, and maintain the full composability with all Web3 promises. So the next frontier in the mainstream adoption will be the mobile, and hybrid custody will going to take over, like how the next billion people will be get onboarded to the Web3, right? So now we're going to talk about ecosystem. So in ecosystem we have Flowers and Emerald City DAO. So Flowers is like a community portal where you can go and check it out all the projects building on the flow and much more. Emerald City DAO is a developer focused DAO. You can go and contribute if you want to learn about flow. Go and check it out, Emerald City DAO. If you want to contribute to the flow ecosystem, then join Emerald City DAO and you can contribute and you will get rewarded on based of your contribution. Talking about the ecosystem fund, so we have total 725 million in the ecosystem fund. So if you are willing to build on flow, so you can get developer grants, Dapper, you can get some funds from the Dapper studio, and also flow teams have to get some funding get funding from their partners. Talking about the global hackathon, so in February we had a hackathon in which we got 7,600 plus signups, 500 plus team participated, prize pool of 500k US dollars, and we have 13 IRA satellite events, and we got really cool projects from that last hackathon. Currently, this was our second hackathon in June. It's get over like 3-4 days back. It's completed, but please stay updated on to the Flow Flow Twitter channel. There will be a next hackathon in the next quarter, definitely. So we have the tracks we had during the hackathon. It was gaming, DeFi, multi-chain apps, mobile, AI plus Web3, and true tools and infrastructure. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening me. If you please follow us on Twitter and join our Telegram channel. If you have any doubt, please join our Telegram channel and tag me DC. And if you have any doubt, please share your doubt with me. I'm going to help you out. So thank you, guys. See you soon. Bye bye.
Yeah, that is Arun sir is sharing the Telegram channel. If you are interested, you can even join their community to understand more deeper insights of this blockchain and all. I think we have completed all the sessions. Still, if anything is left over.
No, I think that's all. And now just we can wrap up. And if anyone got any question, they can ask now. If not, they can ask on the Discord channel. And once again, I just want to reiterate to all the pharmacy students in India that's taking part in the hackathon, you are all leaders in metapharmacy across the globe, in the world. Literally, nobody can say anything because this was the first hackathon for metapharmacy done across 4 weeks with nearly 10 hours of content, and you lot are more knowledgeable than 99.9999% of the pharmacy students across the globe. So you can even put in your CV knowledgeable in metapharmacy, and like give a shout out to you all, and shout out to Sinat and the IPS team for making it happen, because it's not easy, but now you've kind of set a new standard for metapharmacy, and I can't wait what each one of you is going to submit for next week. But yeah, I just want to kind of give that word of encouragement that thank you for your persistence, thank you for wanting to learn. So yes.
Thank you so much, sir. First of all, we have to keep a shout out on you, Mr. Arun Nadarasa, because without your support or without your motivation, we wouldn't have been reached here. Because there is a lot of people behind it. They have worked on for the flyers, for the technical team, and for making it PR, sharing it across social media team. So without their support, I think this wouldn't have been happened. Along with your motivation and giving insights and dragging these many collaborations and resource persons. And I, on the first session, I said there are certain organizations or real in the real time world, these particular content is being sold or sold with nearly 450 plus dollars. I mean, around 35,000 Indian currency. These particular artificial intelligence is being courses are being sold to the people. But we here, with your support and with all these resource persons and collaborators, we have provided this content for free. And first, for that reason, I would like to thank and all the students or all the members who have been joined today, or who is being listening now, or who is going to be listen in the near future through the YouTube. So this is one of the greatest opportunity. Having an idea is always an important. Though we come from an healthcare background, we must understand what are the technicalities are being available. So that is where our concern. And by using this artificial intelligence, which can help your research perspectives, clinical trials, and you can give a personal touch to the society through these particular healing methods by using this metaverse. So that is where our concern was falling in. And we wish this was one of the productive workshop, 1 month long, more than 10 plus resources and more than 10 organizations have been collaborated. And we are happy to know that today Movella is one of the organization came forward to provide the experiences or the explore or create their scenes by using their manufacturing unit at Bangalore. So for that reason, I would also like to thank Mr. Gopal sir from Movella. And yeah, so this is wouldn't happen without any member support here. So with this short note, thank you everyone for joining in and making these sessions. Can anyone go to the first slide? Mr. Akshat, I guess. Yeah, this one. Mr. Ravil. Next slide. Yeah. Next. So I would like to thank Mr. Ravil Nasro, who have been shared his experience on launch your meta pharmacy with 8XR blockade games and common sense machines. Next slide. Next, we have Mr. Abhishek Singh Rajpurohit, who have explained us 11 ways to market your brand in the metaverse. Next slide. So we have Mr. Benjamin Kocher, who have explained us the metaverse search engine with the lighthouse, and Miss Maria Halime, who have explained us the cases of meta pharmacy, the use cases of meta pharmacy. Next slide. So today, the fourth session, Mr. Riccardo Goldoni, who have been provided the knowledge on the economics supporting the meta pharmacy ecosystem. Mr. Julian Park, who have explained us about the spatial experience with body storming. And we have Koby, who have explained about the power of branding for VC pitching. And we have Hardik Sharma, who have explained us about Flow blockchain to support the meta pharmacy ecosystem. And we have Sanofer Hyderali, who have explained spatial experience with the context-aware dynamic introduction. So if you have missed any sessions, we will be uploading the videos in the YouTube as well. And we have Mr. Arun Nadarasa sir, who is a common man, common resource in the all the 4 sessions. He is being the pillar for our Metaverse Hackathon workshop. So big shout out and big thank you on behalf of Indian Pharmaceutical Association Students Forum and all the pharmacy students. Without you, I think this Metaverse Hackathon Season 2 wouldn't have been happened. And all the participants who have been stayed till the last moment, I would be thanking you, each and every one of you, because sitting together for 3 hours, like it's a movie kind. You people have seated, and I think the content has such value. You have stayed till the last moment. I wish you all the very best and do participate. Use this 1 week. As Arun sir is mentioning, just if you can invest 1 hour time in your day, for the next 1 week, you can create your idea in a greater way. And we will be trying, as we got an opportunity to visit Bangalore store, the Bangalore Movella unit. So we would be trying for your feasibility to make sure you can go there and take that insights or explore the opportunity for which can help for your idea. So we will work on it. And if you are interested, just write us a mail at ipasforg@gmail.com. I would be repeating my mail, ipasf@gmail.com. ORG. Anyone can write the mail. 1 second, I'll write here. If anyone is interested to go to Bangalore and explore that opportunity, you can write us mail, ipasforg@gmail.com. I have shared in the comment section. Even if you're watching in YouTube, and this would be permitting only for this 1 week, because we will be encouraging only in this 1 week for getting access to there. So later on, we will be not taking such responsibility. So yeah. So write a mail to us, ipasforg@gmail.com, after your registration with the hackathon competition. And do join the Discord channel. All the resource persons are available. So it is very simple. Just you should have an idea. You should create your presentation. And the second thing is creating a scene. So for creating a scene, there are a lot of resources, 8XR, Ozone, and here Arun sir have been clearly mentioned what you have to use accordingly. You can follow it, and still if you have a doubt, you can, in Discord also we made available the channels. Okay, so Arun sir have arranged everything in a detailed way. You can just get into it, dive into it, keep some extra effort, think on it, brainstorm yourself, your team members, and just work for this next 1 week. You can create a really a wonders. As Arun sir is mentioning, you people are meta pharmacy leaders. Yes, of course, you all will be a meta pharmacy leaders. This experience can make you to start a startup. You can be a founder. You can be an entrepreneur. Who knows, you can be some inspirational, influential future in the pharmacy field in India that could reach to the global levels as well. So on this note, I wish each and every one of you all the very best, and thank you so much for staying together. Let's create a positive world by using this particular artificial intelligence and metaverse. Thank you, everyone. If you have any doubts, you can just post for the next 2 minutes. We can take, as Arun sir is available in the call. If you have any doubts, you can take, or else we can close it here. So as no doubts, so once again I thank my team, Miss Sayantika, Miss Aditi, and Mr. Akshat for staying here and making this technical supportive, and Mr. Mohit Manchanda and Mr. Karsh for making the arrangements and writing mails and everything. And I would also like to thank Miss Devyani Bhatnagar and her team for creating contents. Yeah, so thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and I wish you all an amazing rest of the day. I need to go to work, but bye, everyone.
Thank you. That's really great and so nice of you. Thank you, sir.